Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. We're so glad to have you all here. We'll get started in just a few minutes. I'm just going to get set up, okay? So glad to have you all here. Welcome again, everybody. We'll get started in just a few minutes. So excited to have you all here today. My name is Sarah Buckman, and I work at Common Ground, and it's just such a pleasure to be doing this class with you. Thank you for spending a few hours on your weekend to be with us. We're really looking forward to cooking up an amazing meal. For those of you that are doing this class with us for the first time, welcome, and welcome back to those that are taking another class with us. I know we have about 40, I think we have 41 households that are cooking along with us today. We packed up an amazing selection of ingredients, so we'll get to that. Yeah, we want to make this as interactive as possible. So I'll be keeping a close-up camera so you can see all the details. If you have any questions or you want to add to the conversation, we welcome you to comment into the chat. And so I'll be reading out any info or additions to our conversation throughout the class, and make sure that Sirisha also sees it too. So Molly and Ben, thank you so much for taking this class. We're so excited to have you. Please let me know if there's any of you that are taking this for the first time. I would love to welcome you. We all have different amazing kitchens all over town. So we're going to be going, maybe things will be paced a little bit different based on the kitchen, but we're going to be cooking up an amazing meal together. And there's a lot of good things that are going to be cooked up. So I'm just waiting until we get our few more people. So welcome. I saw a few people are joining. We're so glad to have you. We'll get started in about another minute or two, okay? And yeah, it's great to be here. It's a amazing day to be at the co-op today because there's so many different events that are happening around downtown. Uniting Pride is putting together the Pride Festival in our backyard or parking lot. So that's wonderful. And the farmers market was here today. And I think Pygmalion and the CU Black and African Arts Festival is all happening this weekend. So we are grateful for all of you for taking the time to be with us because there's so many great things happening. Okay, let's take a look. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, I think we'll get started. So So welcome everybody. My name is Sarah. I work in our marketing department here at Common Ground, and also I'm behind the scenes a lot with our education programming. So we do a lot of different types of cooking classes. We do in-person classes. We do virtual classes like the one here today. And I really want to start off by saying thank you to the Urbana Arts and Culture program for sponsoring this. You met my coworker, Liz Sands, who was passing out the meal kits yesterday. And she wrote a grant the last couple of years to cover all the ingredients, and our amazing instructor. So the grant, this last grant covered this entire class to be free for all participants. So thank you again for signing up. Just to kind of give you a little intro, please let us know in the comments if this is the first class that you're taking with us. We have included everything for the most part pre-portioned and labeled, and included ingredients from Sirisha Bhandaru, who I'll introduce in just a second. And yeah, we're wanting to make this as interactive as possible. We love our virtual classes. This is a way that everyone can get all of this hands-on experience and full meal afterwards. So we really are glad to have you all here today. And it looks like we've got a lot of people that are taking their first class. So welcome. So yeah, we do a lot of different cultural cuisine classes. And it's just always a pleasure to collaborate with really talented community members. And I have a deep appreciation and respect for Sirisha Bhandaru, who I'll invite up here. Sirisha, thank you so much for teaching our class today.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Yes. So yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun today. We're gonna be cooking with a lot of different, maybe unique to you ingredients. And we've got an amazing expert to guide us through some delicious recipes. So the way this is gonna work is we're gonna, you've got your recipe cards, everybody's kitchens, maybe cooks a little bit different. So we want to make this as interactive as possible. Please feel free if at any point you need any guidance or you want to add to the conversation. We want to invite you to do that. And then we'll be cooking along with you. So you're welcome to, some people just watch and then they cook later. So you're welcome to do that. But if you're wanting to cook along with us, we invite you to do that too. So yeah, I would love, Sirisha, if you wanted to tell them a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everyone. I've been teaching cooking classes here for almost 7 to 8 years now, and I love this, especially with Sarah and earlier with Anna, Sarah and Liz. It's been the best experience. And I have been cooking Indian food pretty much from my childhood. Like, I would follow my grandma around in her kitchen, help her out a little bit here and there. And that's when I started picking up some tips and got interested in cooking. And I do love sharing dishes and recipes that you might not see very regularly here, in the restaurants. I try to include some familiar dishes, but also, introduce some new ingredients, maybe something from, the Indian store that you might not be very familiar with, but that is used a lot in Indian cooking. So India has a very varied landscape, and that leads to, different kinds of very local ingredients which influence the cooking in India. So home cooking, like I'm sure it's true for any other culture, is very different from restaurant style cooking. So my goal is to introduce more home style dishes which are very easy to make, which are not very heavy, and they are healthy and digestible and good for you. And you can always adapt. I love that thing about cooking, that you can adapt it to suit your tastes, and you can change up the ingredients, and you can still, make a very good dish. It's not very proper or precise. It's not like if you don't like ginger, you can omit it. It's fine. and then you can swap the lentils, you can swap the greens, and you can make a lot of changes like that. So I like to equip people with those tips as well when they're cooking, so they can make a dish their own. So
Yeah.
with that in mind, today's
Yeah, let's go over the menu.
So today we are going to learn, the first thing we'll be making is the dal. Dal is lentils, and we're using red lentils. There was a note to soak your lentils. I hope all of you have already soaked them. Otherwise, it's a good time now to just wash them and then soak them in water for some time. It just helps speed up the cooking and makes the lentils more digestible. So we'll be making the masoor dal palak, which is red lentils with spinach. And like I mentioned, you can happily swap the greens with any other greens that will cook roughly around the same time as spinach. Or you can, I'll tell you other variations you can do. Then we'll be making a halwa. Halwa is a dessert or a sweet dish. It's a very, very basic sweet dish. It's basically just semolina, ghee, which is a very yummy fat, and sugar. And it's made all over India. And I'm sure it's made in, other parts of the world as well. But in India, it's with slight variations, maybe in the spices or how much we roast it. It's made, yes, we use cardamom and all that in this, and some people will use saffron and other spices to flavor it. So we'll be making that halwa. It's a super easy dish. It's made for festive occasions. It's very good to make in a large quantity if you're having a lot of people over, and it's always delicious.
I was lucky to, when we were planning this menu, Sirisha brought some of the halva, and it was absolutely delicious. The cardamom and the raisins that are in it, and it's like a syrupy dessert. So I think you'll really like it.
And then we have kadai paneer. So paneer, are you guys familiar with paneer? Most people who are not too familiar with cooking Indian food also, if you go to restaurants and if you're vegetarian, you might find yourself ordering paneer, like palak paneer, or, a paneer makhani or butter paneer, paneer tikka. So after all these, then is the kadai paneer. So in popularity, I don't know if many of you have ordered it in a restaurant, but it is pretty popular. It's like a stir fry. It also has bell peppers and onions and other veggies in it. It's pretty easy to make. What stands out in this recipe is the use of a very fresh spice mix. So there's something called kadhai masala, which gives it a very good flavor, a fresh flavor. So this dish is flavored not with whole spices, but with ground spices. So that is what makes it special. So we'll be making kadhai paneer. And then there's a dish, raita is something that most people familiar with Indian food already know. Raita is just a flavored yogurt. So it's not sweet, it's savory, and it's made with, mixing some spices and vegetables and plain yogurt.
It reminds me of like a tzatziki.
Yes, it's kind of like
Indian
a tzatziki sauce.
Mhm.
So we are doing a different version of that with, sauteed onions. It's a very, very comforting dish, and this goes great with rice. So we'll also be cooking some rice. And I always like to introduce something different every time, something that, might not be very familiar. So this time, for instead of naan, we got something called a parota, a Kerala parota. So typically it is served with a South Indian style gravy, but we are going to take some liberties, and we're going to serve it with the kadai paneer. It'll taste equally good with the kadai paneer. I'll show you how to toast it to bring out the layers in the roti and make it taste good. So this is the menu today. So we'll be, should we get started?
Yeah.
Are you guys ready? Did you all soak your lentils?
So for soaking your lentils, you're just gonna quickly rinse them
and then
just to get the starch or any of the dust off, and then soak them just in and just set them in a bowl with water a little bit higher.
So I soak mine for around half an hour or so. As you can see, the lentils, they swell up a little bit. And if you press with your nail, you can easily press into them. So this makes it easy to cook them. They cook very fast. This is one of the fastest cooking lentils, which are commonly used in India. So
I
do
will
you see?
I will say I will show so I'll be kind of popping in and out with the close-up camera when there's some details to
So
see
here,
so that you guys
see
can really see
the lentils swell up a little bit, and they're very, you can tell that they've softened. Yeah. So there are many different ways of cooking this. If you just even saute them in a pan, you can make like a dry dish with it. But today we are making a nice hearty, soupy kind of lentil dish. This goes very well with rice. You can eat it with rotis too, but it goes best with rice. So I'm just going to, since this is already washed and soaked, I'm just going to drain this water and
Okay.
put it in a pan and start cooking it.
So like, will they need we can maybe go over what kind of equipment they'll need for the dal, and then every time we transition to a new
Sure.
recipe, we'll tell you what you're gonna need.
So you're going to need a big dish to cook the dal, because we'll not only be adding the lentils and water. After a while, after they are half cooked or a little bit more cooked, we'll be chopping up this bunch of spinach and we'll be adding it to this pot as well. So take something that has enough space for the lentils and spinach. Of course, the spinach will wilt into it in a moment, but you need something big like this.
So kind of like a soup pan or something that has a lid on it.
Yes.
I did forget to say, yeah, that, or maybe I did mention that we did this last year and it was such a hit. This class was such a hit. It sold out in a matter of like 6 hours. So I think there might be a few of you, maybe I think a few of you that have taken last year's culinary arts class. But one of the things that we were so excited about is that we've been working with Sirisha as an amazing Indian cuisine instructor for us for so many years. And her teaching and her recipes are such an art form to really see the finished product. They're so flavorful and well balanced that we were like, you know what? We're going to write a grant for the culinary arts. So today we're going to make a really colorful menu. Culinary arts are all about the different balances of flavor and spices and texture. So we're going to be getting extra colorful today. So as we go along, if there's photos that you want to take or tag us in, we will share all of these pictures and cooking stories to the Urbana Arts and Culture program at the end. So, Sirisha, back to your
So what I've done
water.
is after soaking, I drained the water and I've added fresh water here. And you can add up to 3 times the amount of water, or a good way to check is if you put your fingers up to the level of the lentils. So you need to go above the first line, a little above the first line. So that's an approximation. Yeah, that's a good way to know. This is especially useful if you're cooking a large quantity. Suppose you're cooking 10 cups of lentils. You don't have to measure 30 cups of water, or you can just directly, this works very well, even for rice or lentils.
So you put
just put the middle fingers, like up to the knuckle, the first knuckle and a little bit above it. Since we'll be using a little bit extra water because we'll be adding spinach also. So roughly this much. If you want to try, you can try that. It works perfectly. Plus, this is not some science. If you feel water is less, you can always add more. Nothing will happen.
Okay. Okay.
And
so
then,
a knuckle and a half
above the lentils. So
above the lentils.
Not from the pot, but from above your lentils.
Does that make sense?
Or measure 3 cups and just put it. And we're just going to add a little bit of oil.
Like about a teaspoon of your olive oil into your dal.
Any cooking oil is fine. And then we will start cooking it.
So when they're cooking the dal, how do they want, what are they looking for in terms of like a slow simmer?
We'll first let it come to a boil and then we'll simmer it. So as it is boiling, you'll notice some foamy layer come up. So we're just going to try to scoop that out. And then once it starts bubbling, we will lower the heat and just let it simmer. And when they are almost, say, around 10, this cooking range, it cooks much faster. But at home, I have a gas range, and say after 10 minutes or so, I'll see how cooked the lentils are. And at that point, I will add my spinach to it. So there are different ways of doing this. So let's start cooking this first.
So we're gonna bring our lentils, we're gonna basically put it on a high heat.
Yeah.
To bring it to boil, and then we'll reduce the temp. So for right now, get yourself a decent sized pot.
And I'm just going to get a small bowl to keep next to me to collect any of the
white foam.
Yeah.
As it cooks, there's gonna be white foam that will start to come, and that's that starch coming out of the dal. So we've got a little bowl with a spoon so we can ladle out the foam when it's time. But right now we just put in our water and a teaspoon of olive oil.
And this is the dal part of it. So the tadka part of it is where we flavor it with spices and vegetables. You can use leafy greens or other veggies too. So a lot of times I'll make this with tomatoes and onions, or sometimes only tomatoes, or I have used other greens. And you can either cook them along with the lentils, or you can even saute the, whatever flavoring you want to add, and then later mix it with the lentils. It doesn't matter. So today we'll be cooking it along with and we have nice, bunch spinach. So this requires a little bit of cooking compared to baby spinach. So we'll be chopping it, getting this ready while the lentils are getting cooked there. So the next step will be, we'll wash this bunch of spinach and then we'll chop it.
Okay. So washing our spinach, are you just gonna rinse it in the sink, or you put it in a bowl?
I'll put it in a bowl.
Okay.
I'm just going to use, shall I just? Or I'll get one. Yeah.
We'll get you another bowl. Or if you have a colander or strainer, you can use that.
That will be best.
So I think I love when you talk about, you say tadka or
Tadka, yeah.
Tadka.
Yeah.
But it sounds like there's an E and an R in the word, but it's TAD
Tadka.
KA.
Yeah.
So
tadka just means you temper oil with spices and sometimes herbs. So typically cumin seeds, in some areas mustard seeds, and then dry red chilies, ginger, garlic, curry leaves. These are the things that are used in tempering the oil to flavor it, or any fat. We'll use a mixture of oil and ghee.
Yeah.
For that.
And the tempering is basically you're just like really quick frying your spices, and then you're pouring it into whatever you're cooking. So it's a way to add these really potent dry spices or fresh spices into oil, and then that oil kind of infuses all of those spices, and then you kind of pour it in. So I noticed that is something not many cuisines do.
Yeah, that's very typical of Indian cooking. Either you end with a tadka, or you start with a tadka, or sometimes you do both. So today I'll show you where we do both. And the spinach is very nice. I'm just going to chop the very ends of it and not use this.
We're going to get rid of some of the stems.
Yeah. Okay. And then I'm going to use the rest of it.
Okay. So we've got just a decent sized cutting board. We're also doing a bowl for any of our kind of like scraps or compost. That kind of helps with
I kept it right here.
Keeping a bowl with all your scraps makes cleanup a little bit easier between the recipes. So I recommend that. So we might be using a lot of your dishes in the kitchen today.
Sorry.
But it will be worth it, I swear. And then you're just
be careful of your fingers and just chop it.
So it looks like you are holding the bunch together, and you're kind of chopping with like maybe 1/4 to 1/2 inch slices, and you're just chopping the whole bunch.
Yeah.
And you left a little bit of the stems in there, but not much.
I took out like maybe 1.5 inches. If they look very fresh and tender, you can go ahead and use them. They'll anyway cook up in the water, so it'll be fine.
So again, you're gonna just chop that, you're gonna wash your spinach and then chop maybe a couple inches of the stems off and
Mhm.
then hold the bunch and then just try and slice it into half/quarter
Yeah.
slice.
I think I'm going to
Inch
collect it back
slices.
in this bowl so that I have more space on my cutting board.
Sure.
And you can see it's slowly coming to a boil.
Oh, we've got some foam. See, we use induction burners, so ours might always boil a little bit quicker, but
Yeah.
you guys let us know when you're at certain stages.
If it gets very foamy, I'll show you in a little while, and then we can collect that um, foam and separate it. We don't need to use it.
So let's
So-
let's talk a little bit more about what they're gonna need ingredient wise for the lentils. So we had the lentils, we have
We have the spinach, and now we'll go ahead and use the rest of the ingredients. We'll be using an onion. So this is a fairly big one. So I think half of it will be enough for this dal.
Okay.
So you can, you know, use the other half in some other recipe, or you can slice it and just add a little bit of salt and cumin powder and chili powder and make like a small, and with a little dash of lemon juice to eat it along with the meal, like a small salad of sorts.
Yeah, because we're making kind of like we forgot to talk about thali.
Mhm.
So that, you want to describe that a little bit? I'm sure you do better than I.
So thali is nothing but a dish with all the food served together. So Indians love eating a meal with many different components, and depending on which region you're from, the carb component will either be rice or roti of some sort. So in this meal, we'll be doing both. And then there will be lentils, or if you're a meat eater, there'll be some kind of meat dish or a lentil dish, a vegetable dish, some plain yogurt, or a flavored raita. And sometimes there'll be other components like chutneys and dips and other things. It can get from being an everyday household meal, which will be 2 or 3 dishes. It can get very elaborate. If you look up, Grand Indian Thali or something like that, you will find this big plates full of many, many, many dishes. Think of it like a 7 course or more.
Wow.
Multi-course meal that's all served to you all at once. And you can make every bite your own by dipping it in different vegetables or dals and chutneys, and you customize every bite and eat it the way you like. So it's a different play of textures, flavors, temperatures. There's a little bit of everything. And usually they follow an order also. When Indians eat it, they will first eat lentils with the rice, then they'll eat the vegetables, and they might add chutneys anywhere they want. And they'll end the meal with the yogurt-based dish or plain yogurt. Because that helps cool the palate and kind of helps you digest the meal you've eaten. Yogurt is fantastic for digestion, and that's what we use. Either, if anyone finds the food spicy, they can eat it with a spoon of yogurt, or later we just end the meal with yogurt.
Like a cooling.
Yeah.
Marcia had a question.
Yeah.
Or a comment. The water was up to the first knuckle above the lentils.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We went a little
bit
more,
more than
like
that.
a knuckle and a half
Yeah.
above the lentils
Yeah.
was the amount of water. So I would say probably like
this much.
Probably an inch or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, an inch above your lentils.
So now coming back to the dal, will be, if you have an onion which is this big, I recommend using only half. So we'll be using half of this. We'll be using a few cloves of garlic. So let's see how big the garlic cloves are.
So half a yellow onion, not the red onion. We'll be using the red onion for a different dish.
Yeah, I think all the bags have names on them with the ingredients.
Yeah.
So if you just pick the bag with the masoor dal palak, so we'll be using around 4 of these garlic cloves.
Okay.
These are this size. It's hard to give an exact number because sometimes you have very big ones.
Yes, yes. And sometimes we have really, really small ones. Like if you've gotten some of our local garlic, they can be itty bitty.
And this, so please use this very carefully.
This is the chili.
The Thai chili. This is very spicy. So we are going to keep the stem also. We're just going to use it for its flavor and then discard it, especially because it's going with other greens. We'll have to just keep an eye on it and pull it out
So
before serving.
One of the techniques that I've noticed Sirisha does is, she splits it. She splits the green chili lengthwise.
And then I keep the stem, so it's easy to just take it out.
Yeah.
So we'll be using that.
So it looks like it's still very much attached.
And if you are very sensitive to green chilies, I recommend you wash your hands after you cut them, just so you don't touch. Yeah, or you should use it.
Okay.
It'll give the correct flavor.
Yes, that's true.
I love the heat of green chilies. You know, there is a difference when you use red chilies versus green chilies. One is like a more fresh kind of heat, and these give more of a, a different kind of heat. So we'll be using both. So I just split it, and if you want, wash your fingers. Make sure you don't touch your eyes or anything after that. So we'll be using that. And then garlic.
Yeah, 4 cloves of garlic
and a small piece of ginger. This is really nice.
Like
ginger.
An inch chunk of ginger.
Yeah, and then we are going to peel it. If you have a peeler, you can use a peeler or knife. Or if you want, some people like to, use a spoon and just peel it.
So we're going to peel the half chunk of ginger that we sliced off.
This actually, I think I'm just going to use my knife. I think this will be easier for me.
Peel the skin off.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing? So we're just peeling an inch-sized chunk of ginger.
Yeah, and now let's keep an eye on the lentils. You can see. Yeah, so we'll just skim some of this off.
And so this will keep it from,
it just makes it, this is not very, so these are the saponins in the lentils, and they are not, it just makes the lentils more easily digestible. That's why we take this out.
Carissa says, my lentils boiled over. Do you have a good way to prevent that?
You have to just keep an eye on it, lower the heat, and sometimes keeping a ladle on top also helps. Like, people will just take a wooden ladle and put like this. Somehow that helps.
I've seen that too. It helps with the starch. But yeah, maybe if anybody's looking like their lentils are going to boil over, just reduce the heat.
Yeah.
And
now let's take a look at them. So they're getting half cooked. And if you notice, the color changes. So that's very typical of these red lentils. They become yellow once they are cooked. So we are just going to let this continue cooking for some more time. We need this to boil a little bit more.
So we're going to increase the heat. It's not boiling hard enough. So we're going to increase the heat. And so they're looking for a pretty high head.
Yeah, once it comes to a boil, like a rolling boil like thing, then we will lower it.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
great.
And in the meanwhile, we are going to prep all our ingredients. So this is curry leaves. So these are very typically used in a lot of Indian cooking. This has nothing to do with curry powder. There is nothing called curry powder that Indians will use. Curry powder is basically turmeric with a few other things that the British kind of invented to make up for all the other spices that we use.
Yeah.
So
here we go.
So now we can, skim this further.
Okay. Yeah, so we put a lot of things into your bags. I'm sure you were probably surprised with all the things that were in your bag, but we were so excited to build that for you. So the curry leaves, they kind of look like they look so beautiful. These, it's like a branch.
So I'm going to just cover this now and let this simmer for a few minutes. And we're just going to wash this. So curry leaves have a lot of good health properties.
So wash the
They're-
curry leaf
yeah.
stem.
They are rich in antioxidants. They are very good for digestion. Usually people don't like them. So, sometimes they might just pull them out from their meal, but you can very much eat them. They have a nice flavor.
And you remove the stem from the curry
Yeah, I
leaves
removed the
just now.
stem. Stem is kind of hard. Now we're just going to chop all our veggies.
Okay.
I probably won't even use this whole piece of ginger.
One thing is the dal, the lentils that we were boiling, that started to boil, we skimmed the foam off and then we put the lid on and then we reduced the temp to a very kind of
Simmering,
lower
temp,
simmer.
yeah.
And then you're just gonna basically slice
Finely chop. If you
finely
have a
ginger.
tiny, nowadays I wanted to bring that device, I forgot. I found this thing called a garlic chopper. So it's just a very tiny blender that can be charged with a cell phone charger kind of thing. And it just quickly chops up garlic and ginger. Nothing else fits in it, but I love using that. I wanted to bring, I forgot.
Oh, sorry, Maura, if the curry leaves were not in the bag. They might be mixed up with the
So it was
your
in this
cilantro.
bag. Oh yeah, it could be in that bag.
It would be in your fresh bag.
Yeah.
It might, because we put so many fresh things in that one bag, it could still be in your fresh bag, but
And it was
totally,
just one or two sprigs, so you maybe
yeah. If for some reason we left it out, I apologize.
You can skip it, it's okay. If
Okay.
it's
There'll still be plenty of spices in there. But the curry leaves, I really do recommend that you guys smell the curry leaf, because to me it smells so interesting.
And
It's almost has like a bitter,
yeah, slightly.
But really unique smell. Let me know what you think it smells like. I'm really curious.
So I'm just peeling the garlic and I'll be chopping it.
Okay. So we like rough minced the ginger.
Yeah.
And then peeled the 4 cloves of garlic.
Feel free to use any device. If you have some device to chop quickly, you can do that. I'm just going to take a look at the lentils.
The lentils look
They
like
look
they've
almost
gotten
cooked.
like translucent.
Yeah.
They just look like a beautiful orange, yellow, white.
And we can add the spinach at this stage.
Okay. So we're gonna add all of the chopped spinach into the lentils. So what would if people aren't there yet, what will they look? They'll want to make sure that their lentils all look uniformly translucent.
They are all like, if you look at them, they're almost cooked. So you can even add them when they are half cooked. You can still see the shapes, but you can see that they are cooked.
Pat had a question.
Yeah.
What dishes do the curry leaves go into?
Typically they go into the tadka of many different dishes, usually in lentils. In South Indians pretty much use it in every dish. So they would use it in curries, they would use it in lentils, and even rice dishes like, flavored rice. We make like a lime rice or a lemon flavored rice. So in that, we'll be frying some cashews, peanuts, and other lentils, and then we'll be using curry leaves as well. Curry leaves, and they're used in stews, everything. So when I put the tadka, you'll understand what I mean. The tadka goes over, and different spices will be used in different regions for the tadka. So curry leaves are used in that.
For this, though, that the curry leaves will probably curry leaves will only be used in the dal.
No, they are also used in the dahi tadka. Or was it used in this?
Yeah, let's just double check.
Because you can change these quite a bit. So I think I'm not using in this.
Okay.
So if you have, I'm sorry about the confusion. It will be there in this dahi tadka.
Okay. So we won't use
So that's where I kept the sprig of curry leaves.
Okay.
That's what I kept it for.
Great.
So if you want, you can skip them in this, or you can use half in this and half in your dahi tadka, however you want.
Okay.
It's not, like I said earlier, it's not like a science. You can work with the ingredients, as per your liking.
And then
So
Sarah says, what should the water level be in the lentil pot before adding the spinach?
it doesn't matter because the lentils would have mushed up and mixed with the water. You'll not be able to see too much of the water. If it starts looking dry, you can add like a half cup of water and then add the lentils.
Okay.
It's just add the spinach. So it's just about cooking making sure the spinach also gets cooked along with the lentils. That's all.
Yeah. If you put the like about an inch or a knuckle and a half worth of water on top of your lentils,
In the beginning,
it
yeah.
really won't lose that much water. So, and plus the spinach will have some water too. So
Yes.
let me know if that answers your question, Sarah.
So I'm just chopping the garlic
You're just
roughly.
doing kind of a rough chop.
Yeah.
No, they won't have to mince their garlic.
It doesn't have to be very fine for this dish.
Okay.
And since we'll be doing a second tadka, like I think I mentioned it in the, did I mention it in the
Yeah.
notes?
We'll do one for the
Okay, we'll be,
palak.
yeah. So I'm just going to set aside some garlic. We are going to do a second tadka and we'll use it in that.
Okay. So you probably, so we did 4 cloves of garlic, roughly chopped.
Yeah.
And then maybe
2.5 went in this and, or maybe, yeah.
about half or a
Yeah.
third of what we chopped up garlic we're setting aside.
Yeah. And then we'll chop our onion also.
For onion, you'll just do a dice on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
How are you all doing?
So I'll repeat something. So we added our spinach into our dal. We are going to be dicing up our half yellow onions. We found the larger green pepper or green hot pepper, and we sliced it lengthwise down the middle, but still have that stem attached to it. We rinsed our curry leaves, and then
But curry leaves, for now, I'm sorry about the confusion. We'll use them in another dish.
yeah, no, not all.
Very sorry about that.
That's okay. And then we did about a knob of ginger that we did a rough mince on, and then we have about 4 cloves of garlic chopped. We're looking like we're not going to use all the garlic that we chopped and save that for the other turka, which is that simmering spice. We're going to do that simmering turka, like what did you call it?
It's just
Tempering. The
tempering, yeah.
tempering of those spices. That's what's called turka.
So
Turka.
are we ready to do the tadka? Now we have all our ingredients ready, and I think this might be done.
Looks good.
Yeah, the lentils are cooked and they're going to sit in this heat for a little bit. We're going to continue cooking with the tadka. So this is fine. You can turn this off when it's at this stage. See, the spinach is like a bright color, completely wilted.
Completely cooked.
Yeah.
So we're going to turn off our lentils, but if you're still seeing a lot of white or darker orange, and your lentils aren't fully cooked through, then you'll want to keep cooking.
And once these are cooked, we'll add enough salt for the lentils and the spinach, just enough for that pot.
So how much salt are you thinking for the lentils?
Maybe usually I do it by taste. Maybe try 1 teaspoon and then you can add a little bit more if needed.
Okay.
And we are going to turn this off.
Okay, we'll turn the heat off after we added about a teaspoon of salt to our lentils. Okay, so I think that, so we've got our half an onion chopped, we've got our ginger, garlic, and we have some of our other spices like our cumin seeds and our 2 tablespoons of ghee, our turmeric, and then Kashmiri too.
Yes, little bit.
So for the tadka, you're gonna need like a small skillet pan. And I think the biggest thing to know about that is it's it's a pretty quick,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's pretty quick. It's almost like kind of instantaneous when you throw in your dry spices into that ghee. So we'll talk you through this.
So open all your spices and other things, have everything ready. Let's put this on medium heat. So that will be
So we're gonna do medium heat for our small skillet pan. So the order that we'll throw things into the oil
we'll be adding oil and ghee. So
Okay.
we'll be using half of this because the other half we'll be using in the next tadka, or not even half.
I think we actually might have.
Did you give extra?
I think we gave you enough ghee for
The
everything.
second seasoning also.
Let's see. I know we had several ghees. We've got a ghee over by the rice here.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll go for eating with the rice.
Okay.
So you can add half of the ghee and a little bit of oil.
So so about a tablespoon of ghee and about a teaspoon of oil.
Yeah. Or a little bit more than a teaspoon.
Okay.
Then we'll first add our cumin seeds. And once they start sizzling,
Oh, the
we'll
cumin
add
seeds are already sizzling.
Yeah, so this goes a little quickly. So I'll just put the 2 red chilies. You can even break them and put, or you can put them whole.
Okay.
And then we will add, so we are keeping the curry leaves. So I'm just going to add the ginger and garlic.
Okay.
Keep some garlic aside for your uh, for the second tadka. And then we are going to add, once this sizzles a little bit, let this.
You just don't want you don't want the cumin seeds to turn black.
Yeah. You don't want, and you don't want the garlic to burn either. You can see it's all sizzling and getting nice and toasty. That's when we add
your onion and your green chili pepper.
Yeah.
Okay, so the order again was we put a little bit of ghee in.
And it will smell spicy. If you have
Yeah.
exhaust fan, you might want to turn that on. You can really feel the heat from the chilies.
Yes. Okay, so the order again was a tablespoon of ghee with a teaspoon of olive oil in your skillet. You put all of the cumin seeds in until they start to sizzle. Then you start to add your ginger, your garlic, and the 2 red chilies whole. And then it starts to kind of be sizzling so much that you have to throw in your onion to kind of cool it back down.
Yeah, and if you feel the oil is less, you can just add a little bit more. I might have added a little less. So if it's very dry and doesn't have enough oil or ghee, then it can feel like it's going to make you cough.
I want to know what your kitchen smell like right now. I'm so excited for you.
So this is a very familiar smell for me. Like, of course, now I'm cooking, but even as a kid, I would many times wake up to the smell of some tadka frying in the home. My mom would be making breakfast or lunch. And this is very familiar to me.
And Sir Carissa says, it smells great.
Awesome. Now you can add.
What is tadka? Is that Hindi?
Yes, that's a Hindi word. And we have different words in different languages for the same thing. In Telugu, that's the language I speak. I was born in a state called Andhra Pradesh. It's in the southern and eastern part of India. So there, even within the state, there are many different words for it. One funny word, it's called Teragamuta, which means inverting the lid.
Oh, throw it in.
Yeah, because the idea is when you put the second tadka, especially when you're just using it to flavor, like here we are even cooking the onions, but there when you flavor it, you open the vessel, put that and immediately close it so that the flavor seals in. So
Oh,
that's why the name came from there.
I love that. What is it called again?
Tiragamuta, which means invert the
Just
lid.
throw it in
Yeah.
and
Throw
lid
it and then yeah, put the lid.
So what does terka mean?
Tadka just means like adding like spice or zing.
Okay.
And the process is like this. You take any fat, you can use ghee, you can use oil, coconut oil, and depending on the region you're from, that gives it a distinct flavor, even the oil used. So in Kerala and parts of Tamil Nadu, they use coconut oil. Even in Karnataka, they use more coconut oil. So that gives it a different flavor.
Like fruity.
Yeah. So you'll get that coconutty smell in that. And in my state, they use usually sesame oil. Not the toasted sesame oil, but plain sesame oil. So the toasted has a very different smell that is used in a lot of other Asian cooking. Indian sesame oil, it has a more nutty flavor. So that is used in chutneys and other kind of dips, specifically for putting the tadka. And if you go more west, they will use peanut oil. If you go north and the northeast, it's a lot of mustard oil and they smoke it. So it's a very different flavor profile altogether. It changes the dish completely.
Yeah, that makes
what
sense.
oil you use and what spices you use in the oil, that also completely affects the flavor. So this
We added the whole container of turmeric.
Yes.
Once the onions were cooking. So feel free to add the turmeric.
And add just a little bit of chili powder. Once you mix it into the dal, you can see how much spice tolerance you have and what you enjoy. So this is almost done. You can see the onions have they're translucent, wilted and soft. They don't have a raw flavor anymore. And we'll be adding some salt.
I will
Enough
say
for the onions.
the Kashmiri chili, we didn't even add half of it. And it is very strong. So if you're not if your palate isn't used to super spice, the Kashmiri chili powder is pretty hot. So maybe go with what we did, which was like a third of the container.
So now I'm just going to add all the seasoning. And if you want, you can even add tomatoes here. Once the onions are translucent, you can cook a finely chopped tomato till it is soft and mushy and add it. That also tastes great. Many times in season, I'll even add some squash variety to the dals. Instead of spinach, I might use a squash, acorn squash or some other variety.
Yeah, there's a few of you that have taken Sirisha's classes in the past, and she does such a great job with utilizing different local ingredients. You get so much joy out of combining our local season with traditional recipes. So how's everybody doing? We'll do a little check-in. How's everything smelling? Is anybody far behind and need any talking through? You let us know. It's so cute to see the people walking past the classroom. They're all smiling as they walk by. So I know that our front of house always gets tempted with all these smells. Laura asked, should we remove peppers?
Yes, please. You can remove them. If you taste this now and it feels spicy, now is a good time to remove it, or you can let it simmer for a few minutes and definitely remove the peppers before serving.
Okay. So feel free to take the peppers. For those of you that didn't hear, we did end up,
We're going to let
putting
this
in
simmer for a few minutes though.
we put the turka with the onions and spices into the dal, and we're heating the dal back up after we've stirred it in. Thali family says onions aren't quite done yet.
Then you wait till they get cooked.
Wait until they're soft.
Mhm. I
We
think the
can wait
heat,
for everybody to catch up a little bit.
I think for us, the heat is enough.
Okay.
So I'm just going to remove the
Okay.
chilies.
So remove the chilies. That should be 2 red chilies and that bigger green chili. Oh, I think I see it there.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes, yes, yes.
You might have to go looking for your chili. Has anybody
I'm
made
removing even the green chili. I think
made
it has served its purpose.
yeah. So we're removing all chilies.
And then we're just going to let this simmer a little bit. Until then, we are going to get our cilantro ready. I just took a handful from the bunch of cilantro that you have.
Mhm.
And then we're just going to wash it. If you have a colander, you can always keep it in a colander, makes it easier.
I don't know where our colander went. We had one and then it, maybe we have a special kitchen upstairs, so maybe it's up there.
And then we just
Ooh, how
don't use
much
the
boiling?
stems.
Do we want it boiling or do we want it
This is
like a strong simmer?
is pretty much, yeah, this is pretty much done
Okay.
at this point.
Okay, we're just
If
bringing
you
it up.
feel the water is like, I would like this to be a little thicker. So I'm just going to let some of the water evaporate.
Okay. So we're just gonna let it simmer just for a little longer.
Yeah.
And then how much do they have to chop their cilantro? Just a little bit?
Just, yeah, finely chop a small quantity, like a handful of that cilantro. I didn't use the stems, just the greens.
Oh, nothing's better than cilantro. My
I
favorite
love it,
thing in our
yeah.
produce department is if you ever notice, we always soak our cilantro in cold water. So whenever
Mm.
we get cilantro in shipped to the store, we chop the very edges of the stems
Mhm.
and then we soak the bunches in cold water. And it
Oh.
really invigorates the cilantro. It kind of like perks up and it keeps it from getting wilted. And it is the best smell. The
I
whole
love it
back
too.
room would be like
It's
hundreds
very
of
fresh.
bunches of
Oh,
cilantro when you
wow.
walk in and you're like, oh my gosh, this is like a spa.
So this is done. The lentils kind of look creamy. You're not seeing water.
Okay.
Kind of separate. So now we'll get ready to do the second tadka.
Oh
So
ho ho.
yeah,
So I liked what you just said. So a minute ago, before it was really simmering hard, there was this kind of like layer of water. And we kind of simmered that off. And now it's really the lentils are really cohesive. There's not really a thick, clear water layer on the top. So
and then you
that's
can
great.
use the same pan in which you fried the onions, just rinse it out and we'll let it get dry. So this is where the magic happens.
Okay, I'm excited. Let's talk through what they're gonna. So again, we're gonna do
So
the
we are-
second tadka.
Tadka. And then, yeah, and now when you turn this off, you can add the cilantro to this and just mix it up. This will give it a nice flavor. We don't need the cilantro to cook, so
Okay.
it's just going to
Cilantro
flavor the dish.
to the lentils. So
Yeah.
what goes in the second?
So second tadka will be ghee, garlic, and a little bit of chili powder if you can tolerate it, because it gives it a very dramatic appearance.
Oh, okay.
It looks good. And
So-
also the fried garlic gives it a nice flavor. So just make sure your pan is dry.
Okay, so we rinsed the pan and then we just put it back on the stove top.
Yeah, we just don't want the chili powder and all that will burn if we don't rinse it. So, and we are using very little of the chili powder. So we're just going to let this ghee melt.
So we're using the rest of that ghee that we didn't use all of the ghee in the first terka. So we're using probably
The remaining.
the
Yeah,
remaining
yeah,
like couple teaspoons, maybe a teaspoon or so.
yeah.
So
This is just to get the garlic to sizzle. Do you already hear the sizzle?
yes. So
And
we had
then-
like a kind of like remaining couple clove or two of garlic. That's
Or if you don't have, you can always chop an extra garlic and just add it.
And you're just kind of scraping it to the side so it doesn't burn.
Yeah, I'm just letting it fry in the fat.
Oh my gosh.
And once it looks a little bit toasted, we typically use a very tiny pan for this, so it doesn't, and now just a little bit. And that's it. You turn off the heat and then you add this flavored garlicky ghee into this pan and don't mix it too much. Just let it sit on top.
Okay. There's a
And
couple of
cover.
people that were confused about the terka. So
Mhm.
we so when we finish the cooking the onions and the spices, we put that into the lentils, stirred that up, chopped up a bunch of just a handful of cilantro. We put that in. And then we had some remaining ghee and some remaining chopped garlic that we did a second terka. So we rinsed out that simmering tempering pan and we just melted a little bit more ghee, threw in our garlic and a little bit more Kashmiri chili powder, and then just threw in that tempered oil and spices and garlic into the lentils. Does that make sense? But
So this is an optional step. It just gives it nice flavor. So if you want to skip it, you can skip it too, but I recommend you try it.
that second terka
Yeah.
is like this a secret.
Yeah. Especially with dals. So are we all good with the dal? This is done.
So then you just put the lid on it and it's just kind of capturing all of that, all of those spices.
Mhm.
But I think that second terka wasn't on the recipe, so you don't have to do it if you don't have any
I
leftovers.
had, I don't know if it was there in the notes.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
I don't know if it was there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Krista says we need to boil off a little more water, but
Mhm.
beyond that, we're good.
Okay.
And then Marcia said, just waiting on the water to finish cooking down. So that sounds good.
Okay.
They can keep that
You can
simmering.
let that happen on the side, and you can either do the second tadka or you can do it later or even skip it.
Yeah,
It was just ghee, garlic, and little bit of chili powder to give it color.
yeah,
So we are done with this. I'm going to set this aside.
cool.
And now we'll start prepping for the sweet dish, the suji halwa.
Suji.
So
So-
I'm just moving some ingredients that we don't need to a side.
Okay, sounds good.
And let's get the ingredients for suji halwa.
Thali family says dal is delicious. Just taste tested it.
Awesome.
Great. We're so glad to have you guys here. Okay, so suji, what you're gonna look for, the recipe that we're moving on to is the dessert suji halva,
So
the semolina pudding.
you will need a pan for that, and you will need a small dish for boiling water.
Okay, so they'll need
So I thought we could use this for boiling water.
okay.
And I might just wash out this pan for making the halwa.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just going to give this a quick rinse. You can do that too. That way you'll avoid having way too many dishes in
Okay.
your sink.
Cool.
So
Sounds good. So just be
just
careful
looking
the
up.
pan's not too hot.
Yeah.
But we're gonna use the terka pan.
Can I use this for
Uh-huh.
scrubbing?
That or this either.
Okay. So just quickly rinse it off. This is still hot. I'm just going to Not rinse. Actually, you might want to give it a good scrub
Okay,
because we are making a sweet dish.
yeah.
So I do this at home all the time. I will keep using the same couple of pans because I don't want a sink full of dishes at the end.
Yeah. So that same turka pan we're gonna use for the halva. Basically a skillet.
Yeah.
So we're kind of scrubbing off any lingering spices. And then we have another smaller saucepan that we're gonna use as well because it's gonna have a syrup that we'll be working with.
So, and you might want to take a fresh cutting board just because we'll be splitting the cashews.
Uh-huh.
That's
want
the
me to-
only cutting we'll be doing.
Mhm. So the cardamom in this recipe is just so delicious.
So you have cardamom,
Yeah, let's
have
go through it.
ghee in which we'll be roasting the semolina and the cashews and raisins. So
Uh-huh.
here are I'll open everything. Here are the raisins. Here is the ghee. And sugar, we'll be making a syrup. So not really a syrup as much as a liquid, like, we'll mix it with water.
Okay.
And this is the fine semolina. So we'll be roasting this on low heat very nicely till it's aromatic. And while this is roasting, we'll have our sugar water boiling.
Mhm.
So we'll be using, I said up to 1.25 cups, but I think the texture is better with a little less. So it's 1 to 1.25 cups. I'll be using 1 cup.
Of water.
1 cup of water, not 1.25. You won't go too wrong even if you use 1.25.
Okay.
So here is the sugar.
So the third cup of sugar, and then we're gonna do a cup of water into a saucepan.
Yeah,
So this is gonna be for the syrup, and I can get you.
here, I found it. So we're going to use 1 cup of water.
And then we also have cardamom. Here's the suji, the fine semolina. We've got our golden raisins and all this ghee. So ghee is that clarified butter.
So this is a very, very simple dish. So all we are going to do is add the water to the sugar, and we're going to let this just till the sugar dissolves and it comes to a boil once, but we need this warm when we are cooking this.
Okay.
So in the meanwhile, you can just either use a knife or you can just split the cashews.
We kind of leave them chunky.
Yeah.
Kind of just split them down the middle.
Yeah. This is done also, to just check to make sure that they're clean inside. You might find like a couple with some dirty things in them. So you just want to make sure they're all good.
So we're basically making like a simple syrup. If any of you have made that for coffee, it's like, so the 1 cup of water to the 1/3 cup
of sugar.
or cup of water to a 1/3 cup of sugar. And so should we heat this up at all? Or?
Yes, we'll start heating that now. I have split all the cashews and take a different like a spatula for we're going to heat, we're going to do these simultaneously. So gentle saute, gentle boil is 220. So this will be on medium heat. So we have to make sure it is dry.
Okay. And this is the turka pan that we just washed so that you don't have to use too many dishes. So we've got the turka pan, we've got the cashew that we gave you. We just split them in half. And then we've got our sugar simple syrup heating up. And do we need like a spoon to combine the sugar, or will we just kind of
we can mix it
when needed?
Yeah.
Kelly family's asking, how much ghee did we put in? All of it?
Yeah.
So for the dal, we ended up putting in all of the ghee for the dal.
So we
And
use
we're
it
gonna-
in installments. We use some while cooking the dal and a little bit for extra at the end with the second tadka. That's what
Yeah.
we did.
Yeah, and then for the suji, we will also be using
We'll be using all
all
of it.
of the ghee as well.
Yeah.
Oh, for the suji, yeah, it does look like more ghee than you would think, but
Is it measured?
it's measured. I
okay.
measured it exactly, so.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think now the pan is dry. We just, yeah, don't worry. This is a nice rich dish. So we will be using all the ghee. We will be eating a small quantity. So, it won't
Yeah.
be too bad. But this is desserts are usually rich, and this one is a rich dessert. So
Compared to the chocolate chip cookies I make with the two with the 2 sticks of butter, was this like a third cup of ghee? So
now in this, we'll be adding the cashews.
so we're basically kind of like toasting the.
We'll toast everything together.
Okay.
So they will slowly toast along with the suji.
Okay, so we threw in, once the ghee was melted and starting to sizzle, we put the
I'm going to lower the heat. This is, yeah.
we put the cashews, we threw in the raisins, and then we threw in the suji, and you're kind of like really trying to keep stirring it so it doesn't.
On low heat.
burn.
Make sure the heat is low and slowly. You have to keep roasting it till the color changes and the aroma also changes. You'll see the ghee kind of separating from the semolina.
Okay.
And if the sugar it's still, see, you can see a little bit of sugar still at the bottom. So we're going to let this continue to cook. And I'm just using this
And
spoon
then-
here to mix and make sure. You
Yeah.
just make sure that is warm
Mhm.
and keep roasting this. Keep
It looks
mixing
like
it.
such an interesting texture.
Yeah.
The way
Yeah.
the suji combines with the ghee,
Mhm.
it does look like kind of like a really thick. It's as if you were trying to toast like a batter. you know?
Yes, yes. But slowly you will see it all come together at the end.
Mhm.
So this dish is so basic. It's basically just sweetened wheat in some ways, So a lot of Indian sweets that are made are very simple like this. Like rice pudding is so simple. It's just rice and milk and a few, again, cardamom, cashews, and raisins. So this dish is made all over India with slight variations. You'll find an orange version of this in South India. They do use saffron, but also add a little food color to it. So it has a nice bright orange color.
Mm.
And then what I love to do, typically in India, in some places, they make pineapple shira. It's called shira there, or pineapple halwa.
So question from Christine was, have you put the cashews in yet?
Yes.
So
Yes. So in the ghee, we added cashews, raisins, and the semolina all at the same time, suji. Everything you can add together, and then they will all roast in the ghee.
the only thing we didn't add was the cardamom.
Yes, cardamom we'll add later because we don't want it to lose its fragrance. If you add it from the beginning, it will not be as fresh.
Good point.
So we add it towards the end.
Meanwhile, our sugar syrup looks like it's almost,
Yes.
there's still some granules at
Yeah.
the bottom, but it's mostly dissolved.
We'll keep that
That's
like
still
that.
going.
Yeah. And here we're just going to continue roasting this. So I was saying pineapple halwa is made in a similar way. In the sugar syrup, we use a little bit of the pineapple syrup. Suppose you're using a can of pineapple, you can take off the sugar, reduce the sugar and add the syrup instead. It gives it a very nice flavor.
Ooh, that's a clever idea.
And then I love doing it with cherries here. So I'll add sugar, but fresh cherries when they are in season. I have made this halwa with
And you put the
cherries.
cherries in with the suji, like
Yeah.
instead
So
of the
once-
raisins.
Yeah. Once they are roasted halfway, then I will add the cherries. We just need the cherries to mix. And some people use banana. So they don't
Mm.
cook the banana, but after the halwa is cooked, they slice up banana and mix it into it.
Oh.
So different, different fruits also can be used. You can use your imagination and make it.
So the smell is starting to change a bit. It's kind of getting that toasty.
It will get more nutty.
Mm-hmm. So how will they know, since they're doing this in their kitchen, when will they know?
So the color will change.
Okay.
And you can see, I mean, it's not yet separated. The ghee is kind of with the suji or the grain.
Mm-hmm.
It will start bubbling and separating a little bit. And if you feel that the heat is less, you can increase the heat little bit more.
Okay. Is everybody doing all right?
So this step takes a little bit time. This is the only step that takes time.
Okay.
And again, like Sarah was saying when she was buying this fine semolina, the Indian store guy, Mr. Pappu, he was like, you can use the big one also. So there are different kinds of semolina. So some people will use a slightly coarser version of semolina. Some people will use a very coarse version of it. Doesn't matter. All of them will give you a different kind of dish.
Sure.
Yeah, different texture. And you just have to make sure you use enough water to cook it. So since this is fine, I'm using less water. If you use a coarser grain, you have to cook it longer. And
I forgot to mention that when we do classes with Sirisha, some of the ingredients that we can't source. And so we partner with Bombay Market, which is, I would say they're an Indian grocery store. Would you say that?
yeah.
They're actually moving to a bigger location off of University in maybe a couple of months or a month.
Yeah.
And so they sourced some of the chilies for us, the suji, the parota, and other spices that we couldn't find with our distributor. So we love them. They're always so excited to see the menus that I show them that Sirisha's come up with. And so they're a great place to go if you're looking to get if you want to make these dishes again. Of course we have most things, but if for some of those special
Like curry leaves,
specialty,
you will find there.
curry leaves we got from them. And it's a really cool store, and I'm sure actually maybe it makes sense. Definitely to check out their new store too.
Yeah, once I'm excited for them to open because they're going to have hot, fresh rotis that they'll make every day. So someday, if I'm tired or if I don't want to cook, I can pick up rotis and they'll have a few vegetarian vegetable preparations also.
Yeah.
And samosas and chai. So
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty excited for them to open.
Yeah, they're
have a big
family
kitchen.
owned.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're family owned and they're great.
You notice slowly, you can see it, the semolina, it's getting kind of toasty on the sides of the pan. So keep stirring it. Just be patient with this step. And as you can see, even the cashews have gotten nicely toasted. That's another indication to know that you're going in the right direction. The cashews are getting toasty, not burnt, but just toasty.
Oh, question. So Pat says, my semolina mixture is much thicker than yours. So keep stirring it because I think you're probably at a different stage where the ghee is
how is the
absorbing.
color? Is the color more white or is it getting toasty like this? See here, the color has changed.
Yeah, because ours was getting really thick at a point. And then I think that's when the suji was absorbing the ghee, but now it's kind of starting to separate a little bit more.
You can see it, right? See, it's getting there.
Pat says color is tan.
Tan. So that's a good color. I think you are ready to add. So be very careful. Take the hot sugar mixture and then add it slowly, move away and add it because it tends to splatter a bit. Add it in installments. I'm going to do that in a minute. If you want to wait and see me do it, you might want to turn the pan off and move it and continue stirring.
Yeah.
Or you can just add it. I'll need a minute more here.
Okay. So yeah, Pat, it's possible that you've got a really nice stove and it's just
Yeah.
cooking faster. But keep stirring it. And if you think it's getting too tan, like it's already getting way too toasty, move it from the heat until you're ready to add your.
Does it smell nice and toasty? Like you can notice the difference in
Yeah, it
smell
smells
also.
really nutty, like brown butter, really.
Mm-hmm.
And then also I love how the
Raisins.
raisins are even toasty and they're kind of like puffed up.
So I think I'm now ready.
Okay.
You can see some of the ghee coming out again.
Okay.
So be very careful at this step. This is the one step to be careful. You can add your cardamom also at this point or a little after.
Okay.
So
So add your
might splatter.
sugar syrup.
And then you can add your cardamom also.
Okay.
And if you like the flavor of saffron, if you have some, you can add a few strands of saffron too.
Oh, here it gets thinned out. But it's so interesting how it gets thick still. Marcia says, I love Bombay Market. I wish you would do a store tour and explain what some of the ingredients are used for.
Oh, I'd love to.
That's a really cool idea.
Yeah, I'm very happy to do that. Please connect with me on Instagram. You can get in touch with me if you're there, or maybe Sarah can give my email.
If you want Sirisha's email, I'm happy to give it to you. Just email me on and I'll put your Instagram handle. Look at it. Look at it. So this is what we're looking for texture wise, is that thickness.
And you can see because it has so much of ghee, it doesn't even stick to the pan. It just
Marcia says, sign me up. Okay.
Awesome. I'd love to do that. Yeah.
Also, I don't know how many of you are on Instagram, but Sirisha has the most beautiful Instagram. She's like also a great food photographer. So all of the things that she makes, she's like great at styling. I could see her have her own magazine. So I will put her handle in here. It's My Craves and Raves. And Jamie, we did add the cardamom when we added the
sugar syrup.
Yeah. So if you haven't added it, feel free to add it now. Sarah says ketchup from Indian grocery stores are fantastic.
Yes, yes. Have you tried the sweet and hot one, the tomato chili? It's called sweet and hot or something. Maggie. That's very good.
So, okay, it's starting to get really kind of clumpy and like lumpy a little bit. So
this is when it's done.
Okay,
it's done. See, it separates from the pan and you feel like all the moisture has been absorbed.
Okay.
So this is done. Yeah, we can turn this off.
Sarah says, I have not, but will now. And then Carissa says, wow, it is quick to stir.
Yes.
Yeah, it really like
it gets done.
It's its own like.
So the toasting is what takes time. That's all. Because it's so fine, it cooks up really fast.
It has so many different stages, it's like it goes from like solid to, yeah.
And you can't go too wrong with it. You're using like ghee, which is so delicious. You're using sugar, you're using cashews, raisins. A little bit here or there, it's not going to matter so much. It'll still be good.
That's fantastic. Any questions so far, you guys? How are you guys doing? Let's check in. I'm gonna remove the close-up camera just for a little. Everybody's still doing well? You're probably still stirring like crazy. But isn't it smell so good though? Like I love it. I love it.
I'd like to offer it to you, but after a minute, it's going to be super hot.
Yes. Yes. That's great. Oh, please do, Carissa. She says, we're going to try this now. It's all done for us.
Yeah, just make sure it's cool enough to.
Yeah, as long as it's cool enough, because that sugar syrup is can be surprising. Smells like butter cookies, Marcia says. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, nothing like the smell of toasty ghee. So good.
Had anybody of
butter.
you not heard about suji or suji halva before? Isn't it fun to learn different recipes and like what's completely different? You know, you've had raisins and cashews and maybe semolina for pasta, but it's so nice to learn different recipes for this. Okay, it looks like got somebody. Jennifer and JR says, I think we had the heat up too high. It came together and toasted so much faster.
Mhm.
Not sure if we got the texture exactly right, but it tastes good.
That's all that matters.
I think hey Jenny and JR. I think
And the
that's
color
what
can be
ours
more
did too.
toasty too. The color, it depends on
Mhm.
how much you toast. There are different ones that get a lot more brown as well.
Mhm.
So you're not going to be wrong.
Yeah.
If it gets more toasty, it just adds a different flavor.
Uh-huh.
As long as it's not burnt.
And how would you know if it was burnt, if it was starting to
It'll
get black?
smell, yeah. Even like almost a milk chocolatey color also tastes good.
Oh,
You can get it to that color
okay.
too.
You can get it really that dark.
Yeah.
All right, we gotta definitely
So-
try it. If it's cool enough for you, if it's warm enough for you to try it, it's
Yeah.
worth it.
I'm just going to rinse out the sugar syrup pan because
Okay.
I think I will use the same thing to cook rice.
Great.
So
So
you
use
can
your
you can
syrup
go ahead
pan
and
for
taste
rice.
it while I rinse this pan out.
Okay, cheers. I'm so excited to try this again. Mm. It has such a good texture to it. It's kind of like a pudding, like a finer textured pudding. Mm. Yeah, I'll get a close up on the suji texture. Hold on. So, oh, hi, Madeline. I'm so glad that you're liking it. Let's see the suji up close. Just a minute. Sorry, guys. All right, let's get you a close up. Oh, sorry, wrong way. Let me see. Let me get this tilted the right way. Can you see that all right? I'm trying to, so it looks like, um, yeah, what would you describe that? Kind of like a,
It has its own texture. I don't know. I don't know if you would call it like grits.
yeah,
But
or like kind of like polenta.
yeah.
So technically,
Mhm.
you know, polenta is corn-based, but semolina, so it is kind of like a polenta.
It will be like it'll have slight texture and slightly creamy and rich taste.
Mm-hmm. Looks like lumpy cream of wheat.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Hey, Genevieve, how you doing? Genevieve takes so many of our classes. It's always
Oh,
it makes me so happy to see when she signs up. I mean, I always
Mhm.
love seeing you all sign up. Genevieve she showed me, she has a recipe book
Mhm.
with all of the recipes that we've had in the classes, plus her own. And she has them like sectioned out and
Oh,
she has her
wow.
notes and she usually, yeah. So hi Genevieve, I'm your biggest fan. Okay, I think we're getting, yes, Jamie. So you said our suji breaks apart pretty easy.
Mhm.
It's not quite as cohesive. So
That's fine. It's just
ours
cooked a
does
little bit
too.
more.
Yeah.
If you see this,
It really does break up pretty easily.
and that's fine. That is the texture you're kind of expecting. It's not going to be all together or
Mm-hmm. And you serve this like in a little bowl
yeah.
or
If you want, you can always, stuff it into one bowl and invert it to kind of give it a nice
pack
shape.
it.
Yeah. Or you can just serve it like this.
Oh yeah, here's Pat.
Oh, that looks perfect.
That looks really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like yours is a little bit darker, but
Yes, it
yeah,
looks perfect.
great. Good job. And yeah, you've already put it in your bowl. Look at it. Great job. Okay. Great. Marcia says, I have my windows open to make my neighbors jealous. Yeah, I know. That's how I feel with, well, with our front of house staff. The four cashiers are probably like salivating. So, okay, we've still got a few things to do. So we
So-
rinsed our pan.
I'm using the same pan I used for sugar syrup because it's big enough to cook rice. So I'm just repurposing that same pan. So what we're going to do is we're going to soak our rice for a bit. So I'm just going to take this rice and then wash it and then soak it. And we'll cook it after we make the paneer.
Okay.
So I'm just going ahead and rinsing the rice.
Okay.
So we do this to remove any excess starch from the rice. So you get nice fluffy grains as you cook. So just mix it all up like this to wash the rice really well. We'll be washing it like 3-4 times.
Hey, Beanie. She said, out of curiosity, would you ever do the rice in a rice cooker rather than in a
Absolutely.
pot?
I always do it in a rice cooker. I'm just showing it to you guys in case, if you don't have a rice cooker, if you want to learn how to just make it from scratch. This is how I use a rice cooker at home. So you would do the same thing, just add 1:2 water, one rice, wash it nicely, add 2 cups of water, and you can add a little bit of ghee and a pinch of salt also if you want. It's optional, but it gives it that restaurant style texture and flavor. So
if you do have a rice cooker and you have a way of that you like to make your rice, feel free to do
Yeah.
it in the rice cooker. My friend just got me a rice cooker and because honestly, rice is still one of those things that is hard because I was doing always on the stovetop, and so you have to kind of, and sometimes different rices are different.
correct. And you have to know the amount of water you have to add for each rice.
I know.
And like soaking, like this basmati is an aged rice. You can tell by the grains. Like, see, they are
Yeah.
kind of all almost they're not opaque. So the opaque grains, there are some that's how you can tell a new rice, freshly harvested. Basmati rice is always better to use aged. And usually in the Indian store, the one they sell is aged basmati. So this grain will have better texture. So you can see. So this rice, it holds up well to soaking. So I have bought other varieties where, I can see that the grain is still very new. I won't soak it and I'll use less water for those.
Okay. And we have a lot of rice that is really new, so it can be more starchy. So not always soaking aged rice is preferred. That will give you that kind of like flakier, less porridge.
Separated rice.
Separated grains.
So now I'm just going to, since I've washed this thoroughly, I'm just going to measure 2 cups of water. And I'm just going to let this sit on one side while I take care of the paneer dish.
Okay. So we're going to soak. We have 1 cup of rice. We're going to do 2 cups of water. And then we're adding in the pinch. Are we just soaking right now, or are you going to want them to put in their salt and their ghee?
We can put everything and soak it and then just turn it on when we are ready to cook it.
Okay. Any questions so far? Are you with us? So we're just doing the rice again in the syrup container. That way we're reusing our stuff. So we're doing
some of this ghee from the dal in that spoon. I'm just going to add that.
Great.
This is enough.
Okay, so just you really only need a teaspoon.
Yeah.
My boyfriend makes really good rice, and nothing is better than butter. A lot of butter with rice. There's and salt. There's nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing can go wrong. So that was like a teaspoon of
salt? Teaspoon will be good, or a little less.
Okay, a little less of a teaspoon salt in your rice. Okay.
And
so that's going to soak for a little bit.
Yes.
And then we'll turn it on. We don't have to make it yet.
Yeah. So this also we can just cover and keep.
Okay.
So we are done with 2 dishes. And
So yeah,
We're
we are
going-
gonna cover the suji.
Just so it doesn't absorb flavors from the spices now, the other
good idea.
masalas.
Okay.
So now we are going to start prepping for our paneer dish, kadhai paneer. Kadhai just means like a wok, like a pan. The kadhai refers to a pan. And also like the spices we use, there's a kadhai masala that goes in it. So that's why the name of this dish. You have many different kadhai dishes, kadhai vegetable, kadhai chicken. They do lots of different things. And now let's get the ingredients for kadhai paneer.
Okay. So we're working with local tomatoes still. We're so happy to have that.
They look
And
very
some
good.
red onions. Some of you have 3 onions, some of you have, or sorry, some of you have 3 tomatoes, some of you have 4 tomatoes, some of you have smaller tomatoes. So we, based on the size of the tomatoes, we portioned out how many you need, okay?
And if you take out all the spices, if you see this kadhai masala,
Oh, this is the one you made.
yeah, yeah,
This is
So-
Sirisha's.
it's
Alright.
very freshly made. So this has a lot of coriander seeds
Oh my
and
goodness.
fennel seeds and
Ooh, I smell that fennel. Everybody
Yeah.
try that. So
coriander, fennel,
you pronounce
dried red
it
chilies,
kadai.
kadhai, yeah, like with a H also.
Yeah, yeah.
Kadhai,
Kadai.
yeah. Like,
Okay.
So, and what else does it have? Cardamom, coriander seeds, fennel seeds, and cloves. So, and dry red chilies. So those are what went into the spice mix.
Amazing.
So you can always make a small quantity of this, a spice mix, and put it in the blender. Is the recipe
Jennifer, we are on the
kadhai
and-
paneer?
the Karhai Paneer. Looks like Kadai, but it's pronounced Kar. You say
Kadhai.
Kadai. So that's gonna be the paneers, which that's like the cheese. That's gonna have tomatoes. We also are gonna need the heavy cream, the butter.
And if anyone wants, we can share the recipe for this spice mix as well. It's very easy to make. All you have to do is gather all your ingredients, slightly toast them, and then blend them. And I use, if I'm doing a small quantity, I have a dedicated coffee grinder for spices, and it's just my spice grinder. So I blend it in that. You have to blend it to a nice fine powder. So that's what this kadhai masala is.
It's so great. I recommend you guys smell it. There was one thing. Okay, so when we sent you the reminder email about the meal kit pickup, Liz also included, I believe, the recipes. And so that kadhai masala spice mix is written in the recipe, in the digital recipes that we gave you. Sorry we didn't print the paper recipe for you, but if you want to make that again,
Oh,
you
it's
can.
there. Okay.
Yeah.
If they have it, then yes. So I just rinse the tomatoes. We'll also be using the ginger and garlic and 1 green chili. Oh,
Oop,
I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
Um, think-
Just a couple questions. So, Jamie, so we have a kadai or karhai paneer bag, and inside that bag there is a karhai masala. Does that make sense? Cool. Okay, great. And then Sarah, you said, after we rinse the rice, what did we do?
I'm just getting all the ingredients ready for the next dish.
Yeah. So for the rice, literally, we rinsed it. We put it back into a saucepan with 2 cups of water, a little bit scant 1 teaspoon salt, and about a half to 1 teaspoon of ghee, and that's just gonna soak. And then everything that's gonna go in your paneer If you need, the recipes have them, but I'm happy to go through the spices that we'll need for the kadai paneer. So you will need, the kadai masala mix. You'll need your butter. There's a little heavy cream. And those were from the refrigerated bag that we gave you. There's also tomato paste, the turmeric, 1 teaspoon sugar, kasuri methi, which looks kind of like a thicker oregano, but it's one of my new favorites. The Kashmiri chili powder and the garam masala. And then we've got our cheese, our tomatoes, our red onion, green pepper, and our olive oil. You'll also need, so this is the one that is gonna have a lot of special spices in it.
Yes.
You also need your garlic and ginger. You'll need your salt eventually. And it looks like, are we using the curry?
No,
We're not
in
using,
this.
we're not using the,
no curry leaves in this.
no curry leaves.
Yeah.
So just ginger, just everything but, basically everything but the curry leaves.
It's all in one bag, 2 bags
Yeah.
basically with the produce, and one will have all your spices.
Yeah, yeah.
They are so organized, Sarah and Liz. It's always perfect.
Cool, 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 cool. All right, perfect.
So
Pat said, should we be soaking the paneer?
yes, so I'm heating up some water here. You can always, take a bowl and put it in the microwave. We just need hot water to soak the paneer. So I'm just heating it up, and we're going to be chopping up the paneer. And since it's been sitting out for a little bit, my paneer, at least, it's not too hard. So soaking just makes it softer. Otherwise, sometimes, the paneer can be chewy.
Mm-hmm. Like
So,
squeaky.
yeah. So soaking it always gives it a better texture.
Thank you, Marilyn. So maybe you guys do have the kadai masala spice mix recipe. It might just be with your, let's just double check. Well, maybe we lost ours. So
Yeah,
if you
I've been keeping the stuff here and there. Some papers here, some there.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah.
if for some reason you end up wanting that special kadai masala mix, it's in your digital recipes. Okay, so we've got water just warming up, and then are you gonna dice your
I'm
cheese?
just going to dice it.
And this cheese is a lot
Bite-sized.
firmer.
Yeah.
Before it's cooked, but once it's cooked, I feel like it kind of softens up,
And when it's hot, it's nice and soft. So if your dish cools down a little bit, then it'll get again a little bit hard. You can always warm it up before eating. So this is the paneer, it's ready. I'm just waiting for the water to warm up. And then while that is happening, I'm going to use this for cutting tomatoes.
Cool. So they don't need like boiling water.
No. It
It's
just needs to be hot.
Just to set in warm water.
Yeah.
To soak.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'll get a pan ready for this dish.
I love how you soak it. I love how you soak everything. You like soaking your lentils, your rice, and your paneer.
It affects the texture,
Yeah.
digestibility, and just better.
All right.
So are we all ready? This is the dish that takes a little bit of time just because we need to prep all our ingredients. So I'm going to go ahead and start cutting my veggies.
Okay.
So I will need 2 kinds of ginger. So I'm going to use finely chopped ginger, and I'm going to use like julienne, thin long strips of ginger.
Oh.
So
that sounds fun. Okay.
So I'm just going to start cutting my veggies now. So while the water heats up,
so again, you're gonna need julienne ginger, and finely chopped ginger.
Yeah.
And each of those will be, the skin will be peeled off of.
Yes.
So
If you have
1
a
inch,
peeler,
1 inch for julienned ginger and 1 inch for finely chopped. And it looks
You
like our
might-
water is doing good.
I think the water is hot enough. I'm just going to turn this off.
Okay.
And then we just add the paneer and we'll let it sit.
So how long do you typically soak your paneer for?
20 minutes. So I
Okay.
usually, if I'm making any dish with paneer, I will start, I'll first soak the paneer, finish cutting all my vegetables and get everything ready. By that time, it's enough.
I think
So,
that's the issue that I had when I first was using paneer. I was expecting it to be really soft.
mhm.
And then when I cooked it in that, like, it just was like,
Chewy.
yes, like when you chewed it, your teeth squeaked. Or like your teeth made it squeak.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Like that. There's one particular cheese like that, right? That squeaks.
Yeah.
So this I'm just doing the thin, long slivers or juliennes.
Okay. And you just using a paring knife. So whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah, however you're comfortable doing this.
So kind of like little matchsticks.
Yeah.
Like as thin as you can.
Yes. Maybe a little bit more.
Okay.
This also will be adding a little bit towards the end. Maybe this is enough. So just dividing some of that ginger into 2 batches.
Okay.
And this I'm going to finely chop.
Okay. So the julienne ginger, you did a 1 inch of julienne ginger, but then you separated it into 2.
Yeah.
Is this because you're gonna do different tadka?
I'm not tadka, but I'm going to add half while cooking and half towards the end.
Okay.
So that gives it a different flavor. So
what is
if you
kadai
don't
mean?
want to, kadhai means the pan. It's almost like a wok.
Okay,
So
right,
that's what a kadhai is. So dishes cooked in that, I just call that.
Okay.
And if you don't want to chop the way I'm chopping, you can always grate it or, use a tiny food processor if you have it. But always use fresh ginger and garlic. Please don't buy the jarred ginger garlic paste. I think it really messes up the flavors. Not fond of the ready-made ginger garlic. So one thing you can do to quickly kind of peel your garlic. I learned this on Food Network. All of them would do this.
Yeah, they smash it with the side of the chef knife.
Yeah. Oops, we lost one. Take another one.
So we're looking at
3 to 4 cloves again,
3 to 4
depending on the
cloves of garlic.
size. And then we'll just peel them.
So right now we're just gonna prep. We're just gonna prep.
Yeah, we're going through ginger, garlic. Then we'll do the onions.
Okay. Then pepper.
Yeah, pepper will go towards the end. So we'll do onions, then tomato.
Okay.
And while the things are cooking, we can do the pepper.
Sounds good. Again, this scratch bowl, this compost bowl is always a saving time and counter space. Oh, I love that smell. The ginger garlic is such a good combo.
Yes. It elevates almost every dish, Indian dish. Again, like how we cut, how we roast, all that also changes the flavor. Lot of Indian cooking, I've said this before, it's a play of how onions are used. Like you make a paste, you get a different flavor. Finely chop, you get a different flavor. You use bigger chunks and, don't cook them too much. You get a different texture and flavor. So I'm just peeling my onions.
And then how are you going to chop your onions?
Slightly small dice or finely chopped.
Okay.
So just peeling.
So are there any Indian dishes that you really enjoy making? The people that are cooking up a storm today? What are the other Indian foods that you really enjoy? Let us know. We're always curious. We record um all of our classes. And I'm gonna make sure that we're recording.
These onions are nice and strong.
Yeah, they are.
So we can rinse these onions once to just make them a little bit easier to peel. Well, not peel, to chop. You won't cry as much. You just lightly rinse them.
So Pat says bindi aloo,
Oh, I love that.
and Thali family says stuffed eggplant.
Yum. What is your favorite stuffing for eggplant?
We also record, so we have all of Sirisha's previous classes on our website. So now that you guys fall in love with her and all of the amazing dishes she makes, we have everything already. We have all of our old classes on our website. So if you want to go down a rabbit hole on the previous Indian classes that we've done.
So I'm just cutting them this fine.
Okay. Those are nice.
Basically, they need to melt into the, in the background of the spices. So we don't need a puree, but we need like small.
The Thali family says what they stuff it with: peanut, ginger, garlic, tomato, onion paste
Yum.
for the stuffed small eggplants. Oh, that sounds so good.
We love eggplant, especially summer. And the farmers market also, we don't get the stuffing variety as much, but so many varieties and they're all so good.
Yeah, we need our local farmers to grow those little ones. I know the family that owns sticky rice, they also have a local farm. I think
I buy a lot of Indian vegetables from them.
Yeah, they're
every
great.
week. Yeah, like bitter melon. That's an acquired taste. They're really bitter.
But bitter flavors are so good for you for digestion, and it's really good for the for your stomach.
So are we all at the same point? Have you all caught up? Are you cutting veggies along with me?
Marcia says we're getting so many eggplant from our garden right now. Awesome,
They're so nice. Oh, those are the best. Nothing like fresh eggplants.
Pat says still cutting. Us too. Don't worry. We will be using like a larger saute pan.
Yeah,
because it will have some liquid
and
and
also
sauce.
So now I'm going to let me talk about this. So we have to chop tomatoes also. I'm going to move this here. So I learned this trick from my friend Anna. She's amazing. She used to be the education coordinator here when I first started doing cooking classes. And we've been friends from then on. So she always puts like a baking sheet under her cutting board, especially when cutting juicy fruits or tomatoes and stuff like that. So that you don't have any spills and it collects everything. I love doing that now.
Yeah, that's a really clever idea. I'm going to have to take that.
Yeah, so I'm just going to remove this middle section of the tomato.
Anna will be back. She's actually Anna and Sirisha are the longest standing co-op instructors. So Anna Barnes will be teaching a pasta making class. It'll be a virtual cooking class in November. But she's also the amazing cook and kitchen manager behind Jubilee Cafe, the food pantry. She ever since she's really helped make everything from scratch for the most part out of their pantry, and she does a lot of really interesting culinary
She's
culinary
amazing.
recipes with
Yeah.
with whatever they get from the food bank and also from Solo Gradia, and she's a really good chef. So she's got those.
Super creative and organized also.
Yes.
I love working with her there. Sometimes, very rarely, but I do enjoy the opportunity of going and cooking there with her.
So we're just chopping all these tomatoes. You took the stems out,
Yeah.
and we're doing kind of like a reasonable
Tiny dice.
fine
Yeah.
chop
Yeah.
of the tomatoes.
We just want, so the onions and tomatoes are just going to be in the background. And then we'll have somewhat big dices of bell peppers and paneer. Um, and those are what will flavor the dish. I mean, those are the big chunky components of the dish. You can always use a food processor for this. You don't have to, cut them. Even onions, you can just coarsely chop them in a food processor.
Yeah, this is great. Oh, Sirisha, Sirisha is one of my favorite instructors. I always learn so much from her. So it's so fun to be doing this. And it's so nice that you guys are all joining us today. And I can't wait for you guys to try all the different ingredients together.
Have you ordered this dish in a restaurant? Like, I'm just curious about the participants also.
Yeah, I have. I sometimes go, we've gone to Himalayan Chimney. And some of the staff here, we really love Himalayan Chimney, and we nicknamed it Him Chim. And so we're like, hey, are we going to Him Chim? But Kohinoor is great too. But I'm spoiled off Sirisha's food, so.
So we have our tomatoes ready. I'm just going to move this aside.
Okay.
And we'll use it when we get to it.
Okay.
So are we kind of all ready to start cooking?
So the process will be butter and oil, and then we're gonna saute. Oh, the sliced chili.
Yeah, I didn't find one in my kit, so
Oh.
I'm not using it.
Okay.
We'll have enough spice and heat from the chili powder, so
Okay.
that's fine.
Let me see. It might be in with the
Do you guys have an
cilantro.
extra chili? If you
We're
have one,
supposed to have given you guys one little tiny chili, but maybe.
no, then we used it in the dal.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. We gave you. So sorry, that's probably my bad. So we did one Baker green chili and then one tiny, tiny chili.
Oh, really?
But it's possible I got distracted on your kit, Sirisha, and I missed your chili, so I apologize.
If you guys have a tiny chili, you can chop it up very fine. And then again, please wash your fingers.
Okay, most of them have tiny chilies.
Yeah, if you have
all right, y'all.
And if you're not, not too fond of too much of heat, use only half.
Okay, everybody has a tiny one. And we had someone cancel, so I'm gonna steal from their kit so that you can make it. Apologies in advance if someone doesn't have a tiny chili.
It's okay. So I added the butter and oil to my pan. If it's not there, it's okay, Sarah.
Sorry.
That's fine.
Okay.
So once the butter melts.
So you did the butter and then how much oil? Enough to coat the pan?
Yeah. Like a tablespoon. So we'll add our onion.
I like the combination of the butter with the olive oil. I do that with some tomato, like Italian recipes, and I
Mhm.
feel like it has a really good, yeah, it's really good for the
The,
sauteing onions.
the flavor is nice and rich. So we're just going to let these saute for a bit.
Mhm. So, will you tell them a little bit about who you learned from when you started cooking?
So like I mentioned earlier, I started learning from my grandma because she was patient and she had she loved me. So even when I was a real little kid and I would follow her around, they had a very different lifestyle. And, she would wake up at like 4 or 4:30 in the morning and then have her coffee and then go and pluck flowers every day for her. She would do like a small religious thing, so she'll pluck flowers.
Oh.
So I would literally wake up with her. It must have been annoying, but I would wake up with her in the morning, follow her around, pluck
Oh,
flowers with her.
oh,
And then just observe her, and then slowly started giving me small tasks like peeling cardamom pods or crushing them, and slightly smaller tasks like rice. Every day they would pick out, sometimes you would find a stone or two in the rice,
uh-huh.
the tiny stones. So just picking out any impurities in the rice before they wash it and cook it, lentil. So that's how I've seen her. I followed her around and done small tasks with her. And then, of course, my mom is also a fantastic cook. So she's more busy though. So
Yeah.
I used to follow her around at home and I learned that way a
Uh-huh.
lot. And then when I came here, um, some of the dishes that I didn't know, my mom is always, even now I am like that. So she never measured and cooked. It was all, throw a little bit of this, a little bit of that. She'll never be able to tell me one teaspoon of this or a tablespoon of that because it's all cooking methods. We never really had recipes.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is a general method we follow, but quantities, they will not know that well. So that's when I started using some websites, and I learned a lot more of the restaurant style dishes from there.
Mm.
So I'm very thankful to all the early content creators, like
Yeah, yeah.
even now, one of my favorite websites is Veg Recipes of India.
Mm.
I learned a lot from her. Even now, if I have any doubt, I'll go and look up her recipes
I'll put
because
that
they're
in the
always
chat.
good. Yeah, Veg Recipes of India. I don't know if she's very active now, but her website is still there and very good resource for vegetarian recipes, Indian food. So that's how I learned. And after coming here, I started experimenting a lot with the local vegetables like asparagus. I never ate asparagus in India.
Yeah, right.
So, asparagus, a lot more kohlrabi. I didn't, it grows in India, but not in the regions where I grew up. It wasn't used
Mm-hmm.
much in my mom's home. So, um, and all the different colored peppers, all these. Now you get everything in India too,
Mm-hmm.
but broccoli, another. We always had cauliflower, but no broccoli. So
Interesting. Yeah.
at this stage, we can add ginger garlic. So we
Okay.
are adding the finely chopped.
The onions are almost all the way cooked.
Yeah, but we'll let them get a little bit more golden.
So we're adding the onion and garlic, or sorry, we're
Yeah,
adding
the
the
ginger and garlic.
ginger and garlic, but leaving the julienne
Yeah,
separate for now.
yeah. And I'm going to lower the heat a little bit.
Okay.
And we'll just let this get a little golden. And I love the pumpkin varieties here that we get.
We just got a bunch in this last week. So pumpkin season is upon us, and we've got the most adorable, tiny, tiny butternut squashes. They're like the size of your hand or even smaller sometimes.
Are they like more flavorful?
Yeah, they're different. They're
Mhm.
different. I think
I have to try that.
yeah.
So my recent thing was this. It was a big hit with my friends. If you've done some of my earlier classes, you know I love making chaat.
Uh-huh.
So we made a chaat with acorn squash, roasted acorn squash, with all the other chaat elements.
That sounds good.
It was very good.
Will you describe what chaat is?
So chaat is basically street food, and it there are different varieties of chaat in different parts of the country, and they'll have usually some fried elements, crispy elements, crunchy elements like that. So usually there'll be a cilantro and a mint chutney with green chili. So that is a spicy element. And then there'll be a sweet and sour or a tangy chutney with date and tamarind.
Yeah.
So that's a sweet one. So these two are typically always there in charts. And then crunchy onions, like sweet onions, sometimes lime juice, cilantro, some fried things. So all these elements together make up chaat. You must have a most familiar thing might be samosa chaat. If you like samosa, you would have noticed samosa chaat in Indian restaurants. So when you add all these components like the cilantro, like the green chutney, then the sweet chutney, onions, and the cilantro, and the crispy noodle-like things, fried bits, save. You add all these things on top of anything, it becomes like a chaat. So I make it with garbanzo beans sometimes. If I want to make it healthy and not add too many fried elements, it'll just be nicely cooked garbanzo beans with all these things. Or a recent thing was with squash. I used acorn squash, and you can use it with the skin. So I just sliced it into thin sections and air fried it with a little bit of oil and salt and pepper. And then I placed it with all these chaat elements. It was very good.
Delicious. The Thali family says honey nut squash is is their favorite. And then pronounce my rag de patis.
Ragda patties. We've
Ragda.
done that, I think. Have we done? Aloo tikki chaat we have done. We've not done ragda patties, but I love ragda patties.
Maybe we'll have to do another class. Hopefully you guys are still in town by then, or you'll be able to come in for if we ever do a in-person class like that.
So over the last few years, I have discovered like the Hubbard squash.
Oh yeah, Hubbard, blue Hubbard,
kabocha squash. I love those too.
Yeah, the kabocha like is such an interesting. It's not stringy. So it's.
Is that the one that has a sweet potato flavor, or the Hubbard?
It does.
One of those.
It does have like kind of a sweet potato flavor, but starchier and less stringy.
So see, the onions are almost done.
Most of our in-person classes are pretty demonstration based. So yeah, but maybe we'll have to do the next virtual class. We'll have to do like a chaat one.
Oh yeah, sure.
Good.
So now we can add all the tomatoes.
Okay.
Do you see how the onions are almost like caramelized, slightly golden? So I can add the tomatoes with all the juices also.
Okay.
I love this
technique.
Yeah.
Me too. Because nothing's worse sometimes than like the dripping all over, and then the tomato. It's like you want to keep everything that you're making.
Yeah, you want the flavors of the tomato.
And even the juice too.
Yeah, you want that's what.
Yeah.
I'm going to increase the heat a little bit now.
Okay. So ramp up the heat with adding these tomatoes.
Yeah. And we're going to add the tomato paste as well at this point. Okay. Just gives it a rich tomato taste.
So tomato paste. If they didn't add their green chilies,
it's fine.
Okay. They don't have to.
We have enough opportunities for adding heat.
Sounds good. We've got Kashmiri. We've got Kashmiri. Yeah. Oh, one thing that I wanted to mention that I just love, if anybody is familiar with fenugreek, fenugreek leaves is actually the kasuri methi. that we'll eventually put in.
Mhm.
Isn't kasuri methi something that you kind of put right at the end of
Yes,
something?
yes.
Because
These
it's so
are,
delicate.
they're dried fenugreek. These
Leaves.
tomatoes are fantastic.
Yeah,
Very nice.
these are local tomatoes. So we've got some local ingredients. Our pepper's local too. And all of our heavy cream is coming from locally and from a or a dairy cooperative. And
So you can increase the heat to medium high, and we're just going to wait till these tomatoes cook down and wilt a little bit.
Okay.
And since our cutting board is almost empty now, we can, I just rinsed the bell pepper and kept, and now we can cut it. So I'm just cutting the top off, removing the seeds.
okay.
And then we can use this also.
Okay.
Just removing the stem.
Nice. That came out so easily.
Yeah, and then slightly bigger chunks.
Okay.
And these we'll be adding at the very end with the paneer.
So it's still kind of crunchy?
Yeah, we don't want to cook them too much. If you enjoy the flavor of the other peppers, you can add multicolored peppers to this.
Around what time should they start making their rice? Later?
Rice takes around 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes to cook. So if you have a handle on this and it's just simmering like that, we can start the rice. I'm just going to finish chopping this bell pepper and I'll start the rice.
And you're just taking some of the white pieces off.
Yeah.
The pith.
So try to cut them into almost like even sizes. This is good.
And our tomatoes are doing good. We ramped up the heat so that it's simmering a little harder just to break down.
These are nice and juicy tomatoes.
Yeah.
So this will go a little quicker. Now we can increase, like, we don't need low heat for this. So now I'm going ahead with the rice. All we are going to do now is turn this on. And let's keep it at 280. Once it comes to a boil, we'll lower the heat and then we'll put a timer.
Okay. Oh, look, it's all soaked. Take a look at your rice.
Yeah,
all of the kernel or all of the grains are all really bright
They
white.
look different.
So bring the rice to a boil and then we'll lower the heat and put the lid on. And tomatoes are looking great. What kind of cooked texture are you looking for the tomatoes?
Soft and mushy, like no liquid. It shouldn't taste raw.
Okay,
So,
like kind of thick.
Yeah, no raw flavor for the tomatoes. So it will take maybe three minutes or so. I've increased the heat, so this will go a little faster.
Yeah, look at all that steam.
This smells so good. I'm going to miss tomatoes once the season is over.
I know. I need to get better at learning more canning.
Yeah, even
and
I don't know that.
Just to kind of lock in those summer flavors. There's nothing better than the first cherry tomato of the season, or like the first cucumber. Those things just bring me so much happiness. But right now is such a good time. It's the blend between our summer harvest and our fall harvest. So all the potatoes are coming in, the squash are coming in. We still have fruit. There's still there's still raspberries coming in. We have pawpaws for the last few weeks, so that's really fun.
I've seen apples at the farmers market.
Apples are real. We've got so many apples and pears. Definitely check out the pears. Marcia says, my favorite trick for rice is to save on power is bring it to a boil with the lid on, then turn the heat off and wait 20 minutes.
Oh,
Oh,
I have not tried that.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rice grains are they're pretty delicate, so I'm sure
Mhm.
that's great. That's a cool idea. I need to make that way. Um,
So
are
these
any of
are
you catching the other events? Did any of you go to the farmers market or Pride Fest or Pygmalion or what's the other one? Oh, the CU Black and African Arts Festival. There's so many
wow,
things.
so many.
There's so many things. And I serve as a commissioner on the Urbana Arts and Culture Commission. So the city of Urbana allots about $90,000 every year to fund different arts programming and things like that. And so they they fund actually all of those. They funded Pygmalion, Pride Fest. They funded this class and they funded CU Black and African Arts Festival. Um, so some really cool arts programming. And then definitely check out on Thursdays and the next few weeks in the parking lot where the farmers market usually is. They're doing the night
Oh
market at the
yeah, I
square.
saw the ad for
It's
that.
so
Yeah,
fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
So they
want to.
do more like arts vendors,
Oh,
and food trucks. Ooh, we got boiling.
yeah. Now we can reduce the heat and then cover it. And let's put a timer for maybe 10 minutes
Sounds good.
because this is our cooking range goes faster.
Yes.
Maybe, and if you have a slower thing, it'll take 15 minutes
Okay.
maximum.
So 10 to 15 minutes based on how your stove is for this rice. So we reduce the temp and put a lid on.
So we let the tomatoes cook a little bit more.
So Jennifer and JR said farmers market and Pride Parade. Good job, you guys. Carissa says ran home from the Pride Parade to cook.
Oh,
Thanks, you guys. Yeah, that's great.
see how this is all like
Yes.
blending into a nice,
Uh-huh.
so this will be a nice flavor in the background.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Before I
Oops.
forget, I want to invite you guys to our 50th, Common Ground's 50th celebration. It's going to be Friday, October 11th, and it's out at Prairie Foods Farm and Creamery. If you haven't been out in a while, they recently, the Wes and Leslie, the original owners, they retired. And so, the new owners, Lauren and Jeffrey, they also own like Martinelli's and Central Illinois Bakehouse, and they are doing such a great job stewarding the farm, and they've hired a farm to table chef out there. So it will be a free party on Friday, October 11th, just RSVP. There'll be farm to table food, the Merry Travelers, which I think some of you may know, they'll be playing, and there'll be face painting and shaved ice and time with the goats. You'll be able to kind of walk around the farm. They even have like they're going to do cheese tasting. There'll be beer tasting. So definitely check that out. I'll follow up later today with the recording for the class, and I'll send some of the send you the link to RSVP, but we would love to see you there. And then in October, so the Prairie Foods Farm is actually not too far away from Lincoln, where Lincoln meets 74. So it's basically just like less than a half a mile, I would say, from 74, Lincoln and 74. And so it's technically in Champaign. I think it's considered Urbana to me, but it's just straight north. It's on their farm. And so we're doing like a shuttle bus. I think some of the slots are getting filled up, but we're doing a shuttle bus out there that will just be continuously picking people up from the co-op and dropping them off and bringing people back from the farm to the co-op. So if that's
so
something
nice.
that's fun you want to do, you can. Oops. And then So yeah, just
So
RSVP. The person that RSVPs gets a free t-shirt. And yeah, we're really doing it up. So it'll be our 50th anniversary and we're so excited. And then in October, Katie Adams, who is a really wonderful farmer, but also avid fermenter, and I will be doing a fermentation class. So that will be really fun. So I'll send you info once we post the class for that. So
I think we are ready for
ready?
going to the next step. If you see the tomatoes, all the moisture, a lot of the moisture from
Yes.
the tomatoes has evaporated and
Great.
the flavor, you can smell like the nice tomato flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to add the rest of the spices.
Okay.
So we're adding turmeric.
Add turmeric.
Don't add all the kadhai masala. This is more than what we'll need. Add roughly 3 teaspoons first.
3 teaspoons of
yeah,
kadai masala.
yeah, and add the garam masala. It's not much, it's just a little bit. And then add a little bit of chili powder.
A little chili powder, like maybe a half a teaspoon. So I'll repeat that. So all of the turmeric, all of the garam masala, three
yeah,
teaspoons of
the
of the kadai masala,
yeah.
and a tiny pinch of the Kashmiri chili. That sound good?
And when you mix it, you can see
Gosh,
the
it
smell
smells so
completely
good.
changes too.
It does. It's
And
amazing.
then now we'll add half the julienne ginger.
Okay. Half of the julienne ginger, but we'll save the other half for later.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then see, we'll give this a good mix.
Anybody lost? We're doing good still?
And then we'll be adding a little bit of water, but we need to fry this a little bit more. Is the rice, do we need to?
I think it needs a little more heat.
Yeah. I'm just going to get a little bit of water and keep it ready. We'll be later adding like around a half a cup or so of water.
For the RSVP, when you go to, I'll send the link, but you can also look on our website. It will be like the first main header on our website. For the shuttle, you can just select if you're gonna we're encouraging people to either carpool or take the shuttle. So you can select either or. And then we'll follow up with like time slots. There's only 50 that can be taken. We're reserving this big shuttle bus, but only 50 people can go on the shuttle bus at a time. So if you RSVP and select shuttle bus, we'll follow up on what time slot you want to get there.
So I'm going to add half a cup of water to this.
Half a cup of water, just because it was getting too thick.
Yeah, just we need to thin it out a little, but make sure the tomatoes cook before doing this.
Okay.
Completely.
Okay. Okay, so we
had
had
a little bit
half
more.
a cup of water.
Yeah. So you should look for a slightly not too thin, not too thick consistency.
Okay.
And now we'll add like salt as per taste. So
Like a teaspoon.
roughly, yeah, start with a teaspoon and see if you need more.
Generous teaspoon.
And then we'll be adding the cream and a little bit of sugar to balance the flavors.
Okay. Oh, nice. So sugar and cream, and then
Salt.
kind of generous teaspoon of salt. That looks so good.
We're just going to let all this cook for a little bit and then we'll taste the flavor. Till then, I'm going to drain the paneer.
We used all of the sugar, Sarah. The only thing that we didn't use a lot of was the kadai masala and the Kashmiri. We just did 3 teaspoons of the kadai masala and just a pinch of the Kashmiri because they're very potent and strong.
We are going to wait a little bit and taste it, and then we'll add more masala if we want it.
Okay. And then you strained the water for the paneer.
Yeah, I just got the paneer ready.
Mm. Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. This is so good.
Let's taste.
Yes, I was gonna say. Make sure you taste with us. Wow.
I'm happy. I think we need to add a little bit more
Of the
the
kadai
kadai
masala.
masala, and I like a little bit more spice. Are you
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
We
No,
can
go
add.
for it. I didn't notice too much spice at all.
Yeah.
So we're
So
adding.
since we didn't add the green chili, I'm adding. I mean, you please use this as per your discretion. I'm adding a little bit more salt as to balance the flavors.
Yeah, so we added about like 2 more teaspoons of the kadai masala, another maybe half teaspoon of the
Salt.
salt,
And
and then
I added the rest of the Kashmiri chili powder.
but the Kashmiri chili powder could be strong, so just
Yeah, use it as per
If
your
you're-
preference.
yeah. How much salt and sugar again? So we added probably about
All the sugar and maybe like
all the
1.5 teaspoons of salt. Would you think, or
Yeah.
more? I'm always like I don't measure the salt. I add it as per taste.
we added a decent amount of salt. So we added all the
Mhm.
sugar and we have about a teaspoon of salt left over. So I think we probably added about 2 teaspoons at least.
And now I'm just adding the bell pepper and paneer. It's you can see the paneer is nice and soft.
And that's changed color too.
The bell pepper.
Well,
the
the
paneer?
paneer now that it's soaked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think our rice is done.
Little water is still there.
Little
No?
more.
Yeah. So we are going to cover this, and you can reduce the heat and let this cook for a few minutes.
Okay.
And then we're just waiting for the paneer to kind of absorb the flavors and the bell peppers to soften slightly. And then we'll add the other ingredients. We'll be adding the kasuri methi, a little bit of the ginger, and then cilantro, and we are done
Okay.
with this.
So we added the bell pepper and the paneer, and now we just reduce the heat. And
We'll just cover this for a few minutes.
Okay.
So while this is finishing up, and are we good on the rice? Let's check the
I
rice.
think we're almost there.
Yeah, it looks good. 2 more minutes and
Yeah.
it will be done.
Sounds good.
Looks great.
Good.
So now we can move on to the next last dish before we heat up the parotas. So we are going to make dahi tadka, or it's also called, it's a dish from Himachal Pradesh. It's recently become more popular. I've learned it recently. So it's basically a variety of raita. Raita is just, yogurt, plain yogurt. Indians love yogurt. We eat it plain, homemade yogurt, no sweetener, nothing. Sometimes maybe people will add a pinch of salt. We'll use it for making raitas. We cook it and make a dish called kadhi with vegetables, or some people will use pakoras and all that in the north. So if the yogurt becomes sour, it's cooked and turned into a different, really delicious dish. Something completely different altogether. Or in other parts of the country, they strain the yogurt, kind of like Greek yogurt or even thicker, and they mix sugar in it and make a sweet dish. It's called Shrikhand. And in other parts, if you steam that, like the yogurt, the thick yogurt with sugar mixed, and you steam it, you get a Bengali dish called bhapadoi. And the Bengalis themselves, they even set the sugar, they caramelize some sugar and mix it in the milk and then make yogurt, mishti doi. So yogurt is used in so many forms. Yogurt is never wasted. It's been, even the curry and all was probably invented when we didn't have refrigeration. So if you have yogurt and you made it in the morning and it got sour by the evening and it's not used up, you have extra, they'll turn it into curry.
Mm.
So
Jennifer, we did use half of the matchsticks of ginger,
yeah,
and then we're saving the other half of what we
just a
chopped
few minutes more.
for just to put at the very end with our kasuri methi and cilantro.
So these bell peppers are still pretty hard. So I'm just going to give it a few more minutes.
Yeah.
So now let's get the ingredients for the last dish,
Okay.
which is the dahi tadka.
So I'll get a close up on this.
So for that, we have turmeric, cumin seeds, kasuri methi, chili powder, and yogurt. So these are the main ingredients along with an onion. Even again, this is a big onion. We'll probably need only half of it.
Okay.
We need like a small one. We're going to take a bowl and then beat this yogurt and make it just smooth. We don't need
okay.
to. We just want it little smooth and nice.
So just a bowl to just kind of whisk the yogurt a little.
Yeah. Shall I use something easier, anything deeper?
Maybe.
Or I think I know which one. I think I'll use one thing from here. These.
Okay.
This will give me enough space to mix the onions also.
Great.
So
Good job, you guys. You're cooking up a storm.
we are almost, this is the last dish we'll be cooking before we heat up the parotas.
Which the parotas are already cooked. They'll just be kind of
Yeah, heated on the
kind of like a tortilla almost, but heated on the skillet.
So you're just going to beat this a little bit so that it's all homogeneous and creamy. This dish is very easy to make. Like the name suggests, it's yogurt is dahi and tadka. You all know what tadka is now. I think you guys can tell me what a tadka is.
But dahi, or how do you say it?
Dahi.
Dahi is yogurt.
Yeah. So this I can now smell that peppers are cooked. Are you
Uh-huh.
getting the smell of the cooked peppers?
Yeah.
So this is done pretty
Okay.
much. So we're going to add the finishing flourish.
Okay.
So
You crunch your kasuri methi.
yeah, you just do this so it just gets crushed. And if you have too many like thick stems, this is still fine. If there are too many thick stems, you will catch them and you don't add those.
But
So,
again, those are the dried fenugreek leaves.
yeah,
And they just are so fragrant.
Add very nice aroma and then add the remaining ginger.
Great.
And this is done.
Great.
And we'll add a little cilantro also.
Oh yeah. How much?
Um,
Like another bunch?
yes. How much, depending on how much you like. You can add a nice, decent handful or more or less.
And then you always wash it.
Yeah.
We did put the cream in, Christine. So
We put the cream along with salt and sugar. If you didn't add it, you can add it now and cook it for a few minutes. It's going to be fine, but make sure you cook the cream a little bit.
because it will help thicken it. So yeah, by now we added most of the spices. So we just add the kasuri methi and we kind of sprinkled kind of ground them up in your palms and then sprinkled it over.
Just do like this and add it.
Rub it.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of cilantro.
This smells so good, the cilantro.
Yes,
It's really nice and fresh.
Yeah.
And this is done.
How's your kitchen smelling now? I bet even better than before. We thought it was good before. We thought it smelled like butter cookies.
So now moving on to the last dish.
All right. So will they need that same turka pan?
Yeah, we can use the same pan. And this maybe we can turn it off now.
Oh yeah.
The rice smells so good too. It's done. It's nice and fluffy. You can see.
Mhm. So your rice might be done too.
And it comes out much better in the rice cooker, but this is very good too.
Mhm.
So now all we have to do is chop our onion. We are making the dahi tadka,
Okay.
and let's get everything open and ready.
So we have more kasuri methi.
We'll be using a little bit of cilantro also, cumin seeds, chili powder. This needs a little bit of turmeric. So turmeric is what will give it its color,
Mm-hmm.
a nice yellow. And we'll be using half this onion.
So, question about the kasuri methi. We
Mhm.
have two, I think we gave
Yeah,
you 2 containers
separate
of kasuri
one.
methi.
Yes.
One kasuri methi is gonna go into your paneer dish.
Yeah.
At the very, very end with your cilantro.
Mhm.
And then the tadka will also have kasuri methi.
Yeah, it was in a separate bag marked dahi tadka.
I think, yeah, and it might be that let's see if there are different quantities.
Half tablespoon. Here, 1 tablespoon.
Yeah, so
So this has more.
the one that has more, we're gonna use for the yogurt. Okay, and we're gonna use only half of the red onion because our red
Yeah.
onion was a little bit bigger, but some
Yeah.
of you might have smaller onions. I know
So
we had a
this
lot of
I
small
bought
red
it.
onions.
Oh,
I
where is
think
my
we ended
pan?
up using the.
Oh, we used it for this. So we'll use the smaller one. So I just remember that we made the sweet dish in the pan, the tadka pan.
So we have another
So-
tiny skillet.
So this onion, we just need thin and long ones, not too long also. So I'm just going to cut this in half.
Okay.
And then we need the onions to be slightly juicy. So I'm not cutting them super thin, but like this.
So we cut it widthwise once. When we're using a half an onion, so we cut the half an onion widthwise once, and then we're
Yes,
getting
yeah.
thin strips.
So that's it. This, and let's, while we are at it, let's chop our cilantro also and keep it ready.
Okay.
I'm just again washing another handful. Depending on, it all depends on how much you enjoy the flavor.
Of cilantro.
Yeah,
Yeah, so if you're one of the people that is not a big cilantro fan, you don't have to do
yeah,
as much or any if you don't. like.
yeah.
There's other flavors that are gonna be coming in.
Mhm. So I'm just going to finely chop this and then,
So basically, we're gonna be making a terka with all the onions and spices. And then once that cools, adding that into the yogurt dish, right?
Mhm.
That's the,
Yeah.
so it'll be pretty simple.
and this goes great with rice. This
Mhm.
dahi tadka and dal will be fantastic with rice. The kadai paneer will be very nice with the parota or
Mhm.
rice, but
Mhm.
mostly with the parota. So we're going to turn this on. And then we're going to add a little bit of oil. Did I end up using more or yeah.
We might need to just steal a
Just
little bit
yeah.
more oil. We ran out of oil, so we have like,
Is gonna use this one?
Yeah.
Mhm.
so we're just gonna add a little bit more oil, like another,
Just enough to fry your
maybe another tablespoon
yeah.
of oil
Yeah.
or 2. It might have been honestly 2 tablespoons of oil.
So now this pan is nice and hot. We'll add our cumin seeds. And then you can see they're sizzling, and the curry leaves.
Oh,
Curry
yeah.
leaves will be used here.
So we'll take the curry leaves off of
See,
the
you see
stem.
how they splutter?
Yeah, be careful, they'll splatter a
Yeah.
little bit. So we took the curry leaves off of the stem.
And there's supposed to be dry red chili also, I think, but it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll add this.
Then the onion. So we did 2 tablespoons of oil, the cumin seeds, the curry leaves, the onion.
And basically we let the onions just get slightly translucent. We don't want them completely fried.
Oh my gosh. But how about that the curry leaf? That makes everything smell so good. Has anybody
Especially-
cooked with curry leaves before?
You can see the onions are slowly getting soft. We can add salt at this point if you want to speed up the frying a little bit, or you can just wait.
Jamie says Sirisha's class was her first time trying curry leaves.
Oh,
Yeah, me too.
hi, JB.
Me too. Me too, Jamie. She says, we still make the green mung dal.
Awesome.
And
I
she's-
think of you whenever I make that.
And she says, hi.
I'm so happy you're taking my class. Is Janet there too?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I think she says, Trent is with me. Janet is participating.
Okay. All right. I think the onions are getting
Yeah,
slightly
they look like they're cooked. They're
little
still
bit more.
crunchy,
Yeah.
but they still look good.
We'll go just a minute more. And then we can add the turmeric at this point. Add all the turmeric. And then
So we add the turmeric, and then are we adding a little bit of are we gonna add all of the?
yeah, since we didn't add red chili to it, we'll add all the chili powder.
Okay.
And the onions basically don't need to be completely cooked, or they don't need to be completely raw. There's a nice slightly juicy, crunchy phase in between. So that's where we want them. So this is good. At this stage, we'll add the chili powder and the kasuri methi.
That we're gonna do the
Again,
same thing
yeah,
with.
just crush it.
Oh my goodness. And so just keep an eye out
Yeah.
for stems.
Yeah, see, one fell
Oh
good.
gosh, this kasuri methi is my favorite smell.
So it gives it a sweetness. So now
Like
we'll
maple
mix this.
syrup.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a story
Yeah.
about in New York,
Mhm.
where there was like this mysterious smell of maple syrup that
Mhm.
was taking over town, and they didn't know what it was, and they
Uh-huh.
thought they were like really worried that there was like some sort of chemical. They weren't sure where the maple syrup smell was coming from, and then
Mhm.
they realized that it was a factory that was processing fenugreek.
Wow.
And so it made the whole like part of this area in the
Uh-huh.
city of New York smell like maple syrup.
Amazing. So now we are just going to let that cool down for a brief moment.
Okay.
While that cools down, let's take a pan to heat our rotis.
Okay.
Which one would you suggest?
Yeah, that
This is
one.
good.
If you guys are getting to the point where you don't have any more pans left, totally understandable. You might
You
be
can
able
use a
to,
cast iron skillet also.
yeah, or you can move the
Yeah, you can transfer the dish to a serving bowl and just heat
use your
something else.
suji pan or one of the other skillets that you've been using. Just clean that out. And what we're basically going to do is we're just heating up.
to warm up our heat up. And oh, I forgot to add just
Oh,
yeah.
So we forgot
I
to add the cilantro, but we're going to put that on top of the onion.
Yeah, we're just going to give this a minute. Otherwise, if it's too hot, the yogurt will curdle.
Oh yeah, good thing.
So we have to just wait for a moment. So we are done with, you can remove the cutting
Okay,
board.
right. We can just put it there. Okay, so let me talk over that really quick. So we removed the onions. We're just letting that cool because we haven't combined it into the yogurt yet. And then we have another pan heating up that are gonna just basically heat and toast up the parota, which kind of acts like a naan or roti.
So
Maybe
yeah,
this might get
getting
too
hot.
hot,
Too hot.
maybe. So do you need oil or anything?
No, this has enough oil
Oh,
in
nice.
it.
Okay.
So all we'll need is a spatula to
Okay.
flip it.
Okay. You guys, we're almost there. We're on the last thing.
I know it was a lot. I hope you enjoyed the process.
This is the view into making a really nice, elaborate thali meal.
So initially it starts off with a lot of things and then it all comes together. So I enjoy this part the most, the last
too.
part of it.
Me too. Me too.
And then you can get your plates ready.
There are a couple of people that picked up their kit early and we hadn't gotten these paper plates in yet. So sorry about that. I think there maybe was three of you that didn't get the plates, but you can portion pieces as you're building your plates for your thali meal. You can just have little sections or little bowls.
So all of you must have gotten these, and some of you must have gotten slightly bigger ones, slightly different looking ones. We sourced whatever we could from the Indian store. These are called Kerala parotas. So these get nice flaky layers when they are done. So all you'll need is a cast iron skillet. And let me just get one plate so that we can crush them.
Great. And any skillet that you have.
Yeah, any skillet is fine.
But we have it on high heat.
So we're just going to place it. This has enough fat in it. So this dough, it's very special the way they make them. They make a very thin all-purpose flour dough with oil and all that, and then they roll it. And then they cut it, and then they roll each roll again. So you get a lot of concentric layers.
It's kind of like almost like a tortilla meets a croissant.
Yes.
Or like a phyllo.
Yes. I'm reducing the heat further. We just want to, do you see the layers?
Mm-hmm.
As it heats up, you'll notice them more. And while this is cooking, let me see. Yeah. So while this is cooking, I think we can add the onions.
Okay, we're adding the onions to the yogurt.
This smells so good.
Stovetop griddle is totally cool.
Yeah,
Just make
yeah.
sure it's just hot enough
Medium
to
hot.
toast it.
Yeah.
Marsha says there are Korean pancakes like that.
Yes, yes. They're very similar to that. You get Malaysian ones also. Malaysian, Korean.
Oh, look at that. Look at how pretty. Jamie says, I miss the roti from Flat Top so much. Oh my gosh, that was so good.
Very similar to that.
I was just gonna say, it reminds me of it.
Yeah.
And then Tali family, you said, I love all the dishes my husband cooks. Now he has food for a few days. So if we don't eat too much, it is so nice that my children learn about one part of their heritage. Thank you.
Awesome. I'm so happy to hear that.
That's so sweet.
So this side, so do you see it's nicely toasted? We're just going to get a little crisp on the other side as well. So if your pan is on a nice medium heat, they will cook up really well. And then get a kitchen towel or something ready.
Okay.
Because we are going to do something. You can use a napkin also, anything, just to protect your hands. So once it's at this stage, take it.
And you scrunch it?
Yeah. So this, if you scrunch it like this, it brings out the layers. Do you see?
Oh. But just be careful with how hot it is.
Yeah.
Wow, look how flaky.
And then we can put these in the plate.
Okay.
And then while these things are heating up, we can start plating also.
Okay.
And then we'll be done. So we did make a very nice meal.
Look at this. Let's take a look.
We have lentils, we have paneer, we have rice.
This looks so great, you guys.
I would love to see your plated dishes,
Yes, please, if you don't mind. Please, if you're on Facebook or Instagram, or you can email me. Send me pictures of your plated dishes. We would love that. And it would be great to show. Liz will be submitting a grant report. We would love to show how many families, how many households were cooking up a storm. So I'm going to take this off for just a minute. Just to get a close up on some of these things. Amazing. So you're just kind of each segment, you're just, and you could do this on a plate, you know,
Yeah.
but you have these, we are mimicking Thali plates that Sirisha has. Like, what are they like metal?
Yeah, they're stainless steel.
Stainless steel, and they kind of have those compartments, and you're supposed to kind of section out a little of everything.
Yeah, and we use bowls also a lot of times.
So you're just kind of putting each dish in every segment. That's gonna look so pretty.
You put the rice.
And then do you keep the rice separate, or do you do the dal on top of the rice?
I'm just going to keep it separate, but actually maybe I should do it. I didn't want everything to mix. If you have a bowl, you can use a bowl also, or you can put just, I would have liked it if the indents were deeper. You can always add more dal to the rice. Just for plating purpose, I'm just going to put it like this.
And then you have the parantha
Maybe
or
next time I
parotha.
will use this for the dal. I will use that section for dal, this for the, while these are heating up.
Yummy. Thank you guys so much for doing this. Sirisha,
I'd love to know.
So nice. Yeah.
How everything tastes. I hope you liked it.
Please show, let us know, try some of these things and let us know what your favorite is, because I'm so curious. And then how do they eat the parota? Do they eat it with?
You eat it with the kadai paneer.
Okay, with the
Parota
paneer.
will go great with the paneer, and the dal and the dahi tadka will go great with rice. But like I said before, feel free to dip each thing in a different thing and try.
Yum, yum, yum. I'm so glad you guys all came.
Oh, one more thing. You can always add a little ghee to your rice.
Oh yeah,
we've got with that. The dal. So we have the extra ghee. If you want, you can take it in a microwave safe bowl and melt it, and just add a little bit on the rice. It gives it a very nice flavor.
Genevieve says, "Thank you. Can't wait to cook tomorrow." Jamie says, "Thank you both. Everything tastes amazing as per usual." Lena says, "Thank you so much for such great instruction to happily make these recipes. Thank you so much. It's all incredible. Thank you guys. We're so glad to have you. Thanks for cooking with us for 3 hours.
I hope
we're
I did it in time. Oh, perfect. Yeah.
It is. So please,
the timing worked out great.
Yeah, please tag, if you have Instagram, tag us at Common Ground Co-op or on Facebook.
Or tag me also if you can. I would love to see the pictures at My Craves and Raves if you're on Instagram.
Yeah, so My Craves and Raves. Email me at, I'll put it in the chat, but marketing@commonground.coop, or you can respond to the email that Liz sent you. Oh, great. I'll keep reading. Patricia says, thank you. Jack says, this was amazing. Thank you both so much. I'm so glad. Molly and Ben, love, love, love. Great. Molly and Ben, is that you? Are you farmers or is this a different Molly and Ben? Sarah, thank you. Time to feast. Enjoy. Marilyn loved it. Thanks so much. Excited to see, excited to eat this all. Me too, right? And then Jennifer and JR said, 3 hours sounded like a long time, but this was so fun and educational. It went by so fast. Thank you. Oh, you guys. We got a photo from the Thali family and they've got
Wow, they have the thali. Awesome.
take a look at the photo that they just sent. If they
That's a
sent it,
very
I don't know if they
that's
sent it just to me
how
or
we
not.
eat it at home with different containers
Yes.
like that. That's perfect.
Molly and Ben, you're cracking me up. I'm glad. Thank you guys so much for taking the class, and I hope for all of you that have taken it for the first time that you enjoyed it, and we would love to have you back. So stay tuned for more classes. I'll email you about the 50th celebration. We would love to see you there. And then keep an eye out. Probably in the next week, I'll post the fermentation class for October, and then there'll be a local pasta class with Anna Barnes. And I think it will benefit Jubilee Cafe, so all the proceeds will go to them. So you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks for spending the weekend with us. And please take photos, send them to me. Before we go, which is your favorite dish?
Oh, I'd love to know that. Yeah.
Please let us know. I'm very curious. So glad you guys had fun. Yeah, I'm so glad. Thanks, Tali family, for posting the photo because that's the metal plates and bowls. Doesn't it look gorgeous? Yeah.
Looks perfect.
Yeah. Let me know your favorite or the one that surprised you the most. Because I'm sure the suji surprised you. Love the pudding, said Jenna.
Awesome.
So great. Oh my gosh. That yogurt looks so great. Dahi Turka. All right. Well, thanks to you guys. We wouldn't be here without you. So thanks for taking this class, and stay tuned for more programs from the Urbana Arts and Culture program. This is the one that was funded. It's probably the only one that will be funded this year from them, but they've got so many other programs that they do. So take a look for other arts events. And yeah, I'm proud to say that we were the first culinary arts grant that was funded. So more culinary arts classes with Sirisha will be coming, and we'll plan something in the new year to do together. But thank you guys so much. And I'm so glad. Oh my gosh. Jennifer said, this is our first family cooking class. Sorry for being a little behind at times. We had a 5-year-old doing a lot of the work. That's fantastic.
That's so cute.
That's awesome. Say hi to Sage. Is it Sage? I think it's Sage, right? Thank you. Enjoy your weekend, everyone. Thank you, Sarah, Liz, and Sirisha. You guys rock every time. It's always nice to see the repeat families that take our classes. It makes us so happy that you want to keep coming back. So, okay, well, we will let you enjoy your new Indian Thali feast, and we'll see you next time, okay? But thank you so much. Thank you guys. Oh yes, and email me if you need Sirisha's email for the Bombay tour.
Sure. I'll be very happy to do that.
Yeah. Maybe at the new location.
Yeah.
That's a cool idea. Yeah. Okay, great. All right. See you guys later. We'll let you go.